All right, here we are once again back on the Dre Sanchez YouTube channel, and we are going to be taking another flight on over to Vietnam today. So we are flying this Airbus A350-900 wide body, or XWB, for Cathay Pacific. Last flight I was flying for Zeoman Airways, and I'm pretty sure they fired me. They didn't like all the landings, but that's right, we got another flight right here coming right back at you. So I want to welcome everybody to the stream. Thank you for joining me. And like I said, today's flying time is roughly in the 2-hour mark, but we will be thoroughly entertained because I will have another flight on board for the entertainment which you all haven't seen yet. So without further ado, I hope everybody is well out there. Weather here looks good in Hong Kong, which is our departure airport, and we are heading to, like I said, Vietnam. We're going to go to Ho Chi Minh City and call it a day there. So without further ado, let's get on the aircraft and get all boarded up. And so let's just go around. It's a beautiful sunrise right now here, and we're just going to enjoy everything. Look at that sun coming up high. So let's go ahead and jump on board here and get some power onto the aircraft, of course. And in order to do that, let's check and make sure the parking brake is set, and it is. That's the first thing we always want to do. And let's come right on over here and go ahead and turn some batteries on. Turn all these wonderful switches on here. Again, everybody, thanks for joining me today, and we're gonna have a great flight. So now, once we get those battery switches on, we need to come down here to the trusty interface and go to ground service and ground equipment, and we're gonna use the left side ground power unit. Back up to the top, of course, we go. Now we need to hit this available to on. So now the aircraft is most certainly on the ground power. There's some valves here. We could just turn most of this stuff on. Of course, we also need to travel up top and turn all this information. I'm gonna try turning this passenger data to the black or extinguished and see what that does, because every time we do our check, passenger data always gives us a fault. So we'll try that. And now we'll go ahead and get our IRSs to where they can start aligning. Let's slide our view back down until later. We'll come back up and get all of that situated before we depart. In the meantime, we need to go ahead and put on our nav lights, which are the wingtip lights. And we also need to make sure our emergency lights are armed and seat belts on and no smoking is on. Let's go ahead and come down here and open up the aircraft here. So we get the doors and hatches. We'll get the loading configuration going, as well as let's start getting more ground equipment situated there, like the chocks. We don't need the passenger bus, and we'll better bring that just in case the aircraft doesn't want to board the passengers, because we don't have that. And then of course we need to come here really quick, and we need to go ahead and initialize the FMS. So we need to go here to this position. Well, first of all, we need to come over here and come in here to the flight plan. You can see there's nothing there, so we need to go to initialization, and we are CPA 318 today, and we are flying from Hong Kong. And let me make sure I get the right ICAO code in here. Let's see. All right, so we're going to Ho Chi Minh City, which is VVTS, or Victor Tango Sierra, and our alternate airport is VVCR. All right, now our cruising altitude today is going to be at 38,000 feet. And now that that information is in there, we can go ahead and come on our cost index. Let's see what the cost index it gave us on the flight plan is 96. So let's put that in, and we'll enter that. Now we can go to the IRS, and since that information is put in, we can go ahead and start aligning the IRS, and that'll be available in 7 minutes. In the meantime, we've got plenty of work to do. Let me fix my earpiece here. For some reason it keeps falling out. Alright. So, again, let's get this all situated. Let me work on some stuff here really quick. Alright. Just bump that music like that. Again, hope everybody is doing well. Now what we need to do, of course, is we need to work on some fuel and getting the plane all loaded up. So we're going to come over here to airplane and we're going to go to passengers at first. And we are going to go with a heavy load here. So we're going to go with the heavy load of passengers as it stands for now, and then we'll check our performance and all that good stuff here. You can see passengers are not loaded, but we will implement that. But let's go ahead and look at our fuel. Now, in order to understand what we're doing here for fuel, let's go ahead and take a look at our wonderful, wonderful operational flight plan. You can see here, and this is kilograms here, that our trip to Ho Chi Minh City is 12,059 kilograms, and as I promised, the flying time is only 2 hours and 10 minutes. Of course, we'll fill that up with some onboard entertainment of a flight that you guys have never seen, and we'll keep it rolling. So we can see here we have a contingency of 15 minutes of fuel, or 1,391 kilograms. Our alternate here is 3,829 kilograms, and final reserves is 2,271. I did add an extra 2,000 kilograms of fuel, which gives us another additional flying time of 24 minutes. I always do that. I think it's important just to have that extra fuel on there for that extra cushion level. So now we have an aggregated fuel amount of 22,049 kilograms of fuel. Let's go ahead and jump that out of there so we can start populating our fuel. So again, our destination is going to be 12,000 and we'll just say 60 kilograms of fuel. And essentially what we want to do is add all the fuel numbers and make sure it pretty much comes up to where we want. Our alternate airport is 3829. And moving right along, our APU, or our contingency, we said was 1391. Our APU time, of course, we have listed on your taxi time is 20 minutes, but for our APU, I always like to have a nice cush. Let's see, we'll plan on maybe running that for 40 minutes, even though we probably won't. Taxi time will go for 30 minutes, even though we won't. And then right now we're at 18,990 pounds, and we essentially need about another 4,000 or 5,000 pounds to make the numbers. So let's add that in there. Now we're at 23,990, and that's a little bit high, so let's go for 4,000 and see what that looks like there. 22,990. Okay, that's about 1,000 over, so I'll still reduce that maybe by 500 kilograms. There we go, 22,490. I can live with that because we also have to be cognizant of our landing weight. As you can see here, it doesn't even touch the center tank. It's just on literally both on the actual yeah, I don't know why this earpiece is giving me a problem today. Probably have to switch it up. Let me do that really quick so we're not battling. Okay, that's much better. Alright, anyway, 10% here in each wing. So now we can most certainly go ahead and implement that, because we do have all of the crew, as you can see here, definitely ready to work. They're all ready. We've even got this cat in here ready to take the baggages in. Again, welcome aboard everybody to this Cathay Flight 318 service from Hong Kong all the way down to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. We're gonna have a great flight. I can feel it. I can feel it. Okay, so now that we see everything is going on outside, they're ready, so we can implement the fuel, and then we can come over here to the passengers and cargo and also implement that. And to see, it says not in loading configuration. So let us go figure that piece out, and let's see what it wants for that. I told you it's very, very let's see, what would not be in the loading configuration? I'm not quite sure. Here, let's just tap loading configuration now. It should like that. And let's go back to the airplane, passengers, and let's implement them. Not in loading configuration. not quite sure why we are not in the loading configuration. What are we missing here? Okay, so we got to do one thing, and I think I know what it is. We got to tell the aircraft that we are actually at the gate. See, if we say plane at gate, I think this will get it right here. I'm saying it's very, very, very sensitive. Now let's implement that. There we go. See, passengers or cargoes are loaded. So there you go. That's just more of a aircraft interface situation that we're going to be working on. But now we do have the passengers and cargo being loaded. So in the meantime, we can come back over here and kind of run through some checklists. We're going to have the IRS available in 1 minute. So we're just going to jump not to the cockpit preparation, but we're going to go before pushback clearance, fuel quantity, final load sheet, zero fuel weight, and all that good stuff. One thing that we are going to need to do, folks, which we might as well go ahead and do it now since the IRS is aligning, we are going to have to figure out what the runway slope is, and we've been through this before. So that means we also need to figure out what actual runway we are going to even be departing on based off the winds. So let's go ahead and get that. We are going to be flying on the VATSIM network, so I am most certainly logging us onto that right now as well. And we are A350. I'm just putting the ICAO code, and then we'll do the flight plan together. And then of course we are CPA 318. We'll go ahead and connect to the network. That worked out good, and we'll file our flight plan here in a second before we leave. Don't let me forget. Again, now let's go ahead and get those winds and see what exactly we need to do for the departure. All right. Of course, I'll share it with you so we can make this decision together. Because again, when you're on board with me, you're on board together. We make these decisions together. Okay, so the winds look like they are out of the north, pretty much at 10 knots. Clouds and visibility are okay. The QNH is 1028. So let's go ahead and now look at our Navigraph and figure out exactly what that means for us. And that means a 07 runway. So I'm thinking 7 left, which is this last runway that we landed on. Here you can see we are here at the same pretty much gate that we pulled in last flight, and we can essentially take this taxiway here all the way down. Looks like taxiway Bravo. We can just basically get pushed back with our nose facing to the west, taxi out and take an east departure. So now we also need to make sure that our flight plan also has the spirit of us leaving on a runway that is to the east. So I'm pulling back up my flight plan, and we need to make sure that that is what's happening. So we are departing on the Cathay Echo. So I'm going to check that in my Navigraph, and we'll make sure that that is what we need to depart on. Cathay Echo is for, yep, and it looks like it is definitely for departure on the eastern runways. So let's check that out. And what you definitely always have to do is make sure that your standard instant departure and or star actually fits the departure that you need, meaning which runway we're going to use. So in this case, we've got the correct runway right here. So this will be the standard instant departure that we are going to be most certainly using. So, and we're going to pick runway 7 left, folks. So having said that, now we can go ahead and start. The IRS is initialized, so now we can go ahead and just jump right into the flight plan, and we'll get the departure all situated now, so that we can get out of here, folks, and not belabor things. All right, and then we are going to run through some checklists to make sure we don't miss anything. So now we're going to go ahead and enter the departure. We're doing runway ILS 7 left, and the standard instrument departure is, let's get to that, is now see, here's the funny thing, we're not getting the actual runway standard instrument departure that we're looking for. We did pick 7 left. Let's see, let's close this back and make sure, okay, we're on 7 left, and it is only, come on, you can come down, it is only giving us the 1, so that's what we'll have to do. And Pecan is our so now let me check this Cathay 1 on my Navigraph. or this Alpha. Which the funny thing is, oh, you know what? What might be happening is, let's see, today's December 30th. I perhaps maybe have needed to update my route, which I didn't. So we're just gonna have to stick to this, and we'll have to put the departure in there, because to be honest with you, there is not even a the Alpha in there, so they must have changed it completely. It was one Foxtrot. Essentially, it should give us the same waypoint, so we'll check that out. Let's put that in there. It's got us going to Titan. Let's see if it's got us going to Pecan after that. So it's the same thing, so we can insert that. And that's in there now, and we can continue on with our flight plan now. So just a little bit of discrepancy. It's my fault. I should have updated the systems there, but I didn't. So now we're going to come here to this Pecan, and now we need to insert in airway. Okay, and we're gonna go via Victor 11. Make sure I'm doing this right. Victor 11, and we are going to Lemon. All right, let's put that in there, and let's make sure that looks good. So it should be Pecan, Lemon, so on and so forth. All right, we did that right. So let's keep her rolling. Then we are gonna go right into another airway, which is Victor 12. So we're gonna come right here and type that in. Let's see what just happened. Lemon. Okay, Victor 11 was the first one. We're going Lemon. Okay. Let's see. Let's erase that and let's go back to Lemon and then do an airway again. And then here we go. That's what it didn't give us. And we're doing Victor 12, and we're exiting that at Epdos. Epdos in the house. Again, welcome aboard everybody who's joining the stream. Appreciate ya. All right, let's insert that. Now we've got Epdos, and now we're right back onto another airway, which is going to be Lima 642. All right, we got to double check our transition altitudes as well, and we're going to EPCAL. EPCAL, there we go. And let's insert that. And now we've got EPCAL, and back to another airway, Lima 642. So Lima 642 in the house, and we are exiting that at Exoto. That's a nice name. Where you headed? I'm headed to Exoto, man. Don't touch me. All right, and then after Exoto, we're going to be doing another airway, which is Lima 642. Still. All right, comes an airway here, and Lima 642. And we're still taking that to Saspa. Saspa in the house. There we go. Nice and easy. All right. Saspa's in the house. Now we're going to another airway. Actually, let's click off of that. Let's insert that, and let's just make sure we're doing it the right way. I'm not sure if I need to do this every time, but because it's working out so well, I'm gonna keep doing it. W15 is our next airway, and we're going to Vetum. Vetum hard. Make sure they're legit Vetum, even though it's not spelled like that. It sounds like it. And we will go ahead and insert that, and let's check it out. Okay. All right, Vetum, and then now we can go right into the arrival. So what we're gonna do is come right down here, and let me look at the winds in Vietnam so we can quote unquote calculate or forecast what runway it will be. So perhaps it may work out for us, it may not. All right, Victor Tango Sierra, and the weather there is indicating a northern landing right now, and it's been pretty much northern the whole time. I'll show you guys that really quick. As you can see here, the history of this the MEDAR here is all pretty much northwest, or northeast I should say. So we're going to plan on a northern running way. Winds are only at 5 knots right now, so we'll get that figured out, of course. Let me go to my Navi graph really quick and just get to that field and figure out what northern runways will potentially apply to us. All right, airport info. Okay, it's always interesting to see. Okay, we got a chart showing some runways here. All right, so as you can see here, we've pretty much kind of the same situation we're in right now. Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam. We have either an eastern arrival or a western. We're definitely going to go eastern. And of course, let me see what approaches are available first of all. So 7 right, we're going to just take that. We got ILS Zulu. Oh, we got ILS X-ray, which is even more detailed, from Samdu. So also what we can do, let's maximize this really quick. So let's imagine we're landing on ILS X-ray runway 7 right. Let's also look at that approach and see what that's going to do for us. So we can come here, ILS X-ray 7 right. We're going to pick that one. And we'll say we're picking that from Samdu, and now we can show the waypoints. So essentially on the arrival, it's going to be pretty nice because it looks like this may be Samdu here. Let's see, fixes. So this is potentially our final, so I'm not quite even sure because this is the last of our arrival, which looks good. Let me see why we don't have any tags on it. Let's do that approach again, and let's just show the waypoints is what we can do. So yeah, so we'll do it just to final and not to that Samdu when we do it. So even if we take that off on the approach and we come here and we just say to final, it should get rid of that. There we go, it got rid of that. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do no transition, straight to final, and it looks like that'll bring us straight in on the arrival if that's so what we choose. So that's what we can do. 7 ILS 7 right X-ray is what we're going to forecast, although folks, we know that can change. So let's go into our arrival, and we're going to go 7 right, and the approach is ILS 7 right X-ray via none because we want to go straight in, and our star is, or standard terminal arrival for this airport is Baomi 1 Echo, and thank goodness that's here because I sure didn't update it, just must have updated. And we're saying transition can be VATSIM, of course, which it will be. And now let's plug that right in, insert it, and make sure we don't have any discontinuities. And there you go, everything looks good here. Alright, so that's been initiated. I'm looking at the fact that we really don't even have altitudes on this thing for our descent or anything. So we will, well, this one does. This is 3,000. But other than that, we don't. So we'll have to definitely do more than a little bit on the planning, and then we'll also need to check our route to make sure that looks good. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's go to the plan mode here, and let's make sure our route is copacetic. So all we need to do now is just hit this again and go to flight plan and make sure we go to the first page. So let's go back up here. All right. Okay, here's the beginning of the flight plan. You can see also on this screen here, and let's go ahead and vet it. All right, we got that southern turn heading south the whole way. All right, now we're heading southwest. Now more west. There we go. We should be coming around to the airport now. We do a right turn, come up, and back into the field. I like it. It's perfect. Hopefully we get the luck that where we get to stick with that. So we don't know if that's going to be the case, but we can hope for it, right? Let's see. Let's get back on the arc. There we go. Now we're back on the arc, of course, and we can most certainly also put in the QNH now. Let me go back to our airport, and then we need to file our flight plan, of course, which we haven't done, but I do need to get back and get that QNH for Hong Kong, my fellow pilots and passengers and captains. So let's go ahead and jump on and get that weather now. And the weather there, back here, our QNH for Hong Kong is 1028. So now we can most certainly put in the 1028 on the QNH. So we are living legit. Let's do it on the first officer side too. Let's also fix your side. I'm assuming you're taking on the roll. 1028 coming up. And there we go. There's 1028. We also have the first officer side on this. Guys, let's keep it rolling. Let's go ahead and file that flight plan with VATSIM so that we don't forget to do that, because you guys know that I will forget to do that. So let me see if my scratch pad still kept the copied and pasted flight plan, which it did. So yeah, literally we could just leave it just like that. They can figure it out. And let's get all this information updated. And we are going to ZZ. Oh boy, what are we going to? ZZ VVTS. Look at me, I'm putting in ZZ. It's not ZZ Top. For all you old heads out there who even know who ZZ Top is, VVTS, VVCR is the actual arrival or alternate airport. Departure time is going to be 21:45. Now I did alter the time a little bit on the simulators so that we could have a little bit. It's actually still probably dark where we're at now, but I altered the time just a little bit so we can have some type of out the window view. Time en route is 2 hours and 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and make sure that's copacetic. And fuel on board is roughly 4.5 hours. So that makes sense. So we'll do 4 hours and 30 minutes. And we are flying at a cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. Let's just double check it. Hong Kong, Ho Chi Minh, alternate 21:45 on the departure. Time en route 2 hours 10 minutes. Fuel available 4 hours and 30 minutes. Cruise speed 450 or estimated. Here's our flight route, and you know, we're not even going to go with that heavy stuff because I don't know if this aircraft even qualifies for heavy, even though I know it could be heavy. We're just going to leave that off and go with this cruising altitude, and we are good to go. Flight plan has been filed, and now what we can do is let's come over here and work on our runway slope situation, because we know we're going to need that for our performance measures. So now it's going to be back to Hong Kong, and let me pull the airport elevations up. So we're leaving 7 left. The elevation is 22 on one end and 23 on the other end. We're not even going to do the math. That's a zero, pretty much a 0% runway slope. You got 22 on one side and 23 on one side. It's a difference of 1 foot. So that's going to make it easy for us when we do our performance calculator, which we're getting ready to do. So runway slope is actually 0, 0. And we're going to take off flap setting 2. And now you can see the V speeds and the flex temp and all that good stuff are definitely programmed in. Let's go over here now and most certainly button up all the doors, because we don't need the doors anymore. Everything's loaded. Let's just make sure fuel is loaded, and we'll have to double check our gauges as well. So it says we got fuel on board, passengers loaded, fuel is loaded. So now we can go over here to ground services, doors and hatches, and we can most certainly close all. And before we get rid of the ground equipment, we are most certainly going to, we'll leave it on this page, and now we need to go up and get our APU on. So the way you do that, we're going to turn this master on, and then we are going to start the APU, and we'll leave all this stuff off here just until we get everything up and running that we need to. Let's see, we'll turn that heater on. While that APU is coming on, we're going to go ahead and double check what else up top that we can turn on. Here's the vent and cabin fans and all that stuff. That's going to come on now once the APU comes on, so we'll be able to get some more cabin stuff here going on. Once it says available, we definitely need to, and you can see now it should be available. The APU generator is saying that we can most certainly use it. Let's do the bleed, and we need to open the isolation valve for engine start. Now we can come up top and get the rest of this stuff on so that it will come on. We can actually even activate these, even though they'll stay off until we start the engines. This is fine. Cabin fans, everything is good. Up top, everything is good and on. Again, this passenger data, we'll see if we get that fault again. If not, I don't know what to do or how to extinguish that. I think it might just be a glitch. So now we can most certainly see that we're extinguishing that external power. Now we can finish all of our stuff here. So ground power is going to come off. Chocks, passenger, fuel, and luggage, and plane and gate can come off. Now what we most certainly must do is we must come over here and get our better pushback crack-a-lackin'. So let's pre-plan that together. And essentially, as stated, I just want the aircraft to come out and just get pushed back onto this taxiway. So we'll select that for our pushback.
Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Alright, now let's see, we need to also come here and do a few things in this aircraft that are not like your other ones. So essentially what I'm going to be messing with here is if we were to, let's go this way and do it this way. If we were to come here, let's get this seat up here. If we were to come here and look at the lower pedestal, let's also get some lighting up, of course. There we go. But if we were to come here and look at all these servos and switches, we're going to make sure that they're on, but we can do it a different way. But essentially, if we wanted to turn them on, we could do it here as well. And we could also mess with the PA system here. Actually, we should do that now. Let's make sure we are going to be on. We have to always turn these volumes up. And you have to also turn the PA system up, which we have done, and then we'll be controlling this from another feature, even though we'll be able to control our frequencies. So let's go ahead and get that actual VATSIM Unicom frequency all situated. Now that's over there. Now another thing we'll be able to do without that is come over here, and we're going to go to our servos and our controls. And of course, we need to fix our squawk code. We're going to be squawking 2200, and we also need to turn on all of our servos and switches here for weather, or it won't work. And then this terrain mode, we need to get all this on here, folks, so that we are legit. Now this normally in the United States we'll turn it on, push back and go, but we'll try to remember it once we get there. Otherwise, once we get pushed back before we taxi, I'm just going to turn it on since there is no air traffic control here. I'm not too worried about it. Let's go ahead, and you can see the fuel on board is 22,474 kilograms, so we're good there. So fuel quantity is checked. The loading sheet has been checked. Our zero fuel weight is in FMS. ECAM and seatbelt pedals and external power is off, so we did that good. Let's go ahead and go on over to the next one. Thrust levers, park brake, pushback truck is not good yet, so let's do all that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get our cruising altitude situated here, and we can simply do that. Ooh, we don't want to go that far, so we are going right up to 38,000 feet. We're going to push in on that, so it'll follow the departure. Speed, we're not going to worry about that either, because the aircraft, once we get into the autopilot, the speed is actually going to be handled by the aircraft as well. Now we need to make sure that our flight directors are on, of course. So let's double check all of our information on here, and you see the flight director is on, and we see the flight plan is active in there. So right now this glare show, it looks good. Now let's go up top, folks, so we can get out of here post haste. And what we're going to do is turn our beacon light on to let everybody know that the aircraft is getting ready to push back, and we can ask for that pushback now. And I think actually, folks, this is the fastest time that I've ever even got this aircraft up and running. We'll get the console lights going on here, and we won't mess with any of that, of course. So everything is ready to go here, so now we can just simply ask for our pushback. So we should do that.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Lining up and take off.
All right, sounds like we do have a pilot here.
Departure, climb and maintain flight level 380, Philippine 518.
All right, while that flight truck is coming up, let's go out and just take a look, see if we can see that. You see the APU, is on and burning back there. You can see the tug here driving through other things coming up to get us. And either that aircraft is on the ground taking off and I didn't catch his whole transmission, or he's inbound. Which he looks like there's an aircraft right over here. Let's use our free camera to see if we can take a peek at him. And there he is right there. He's actually using 7 right.
Hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And he is flying for Philippine Air there. All right. That's nice. Looks like he's lining up and he's getting ready for departure. All right, back to our own current situation and problems. He's not going to be a factor, of course. All right. Looks like they're doing all their connecting issues. All right, let's look over here. Brakes, auto brake fault, brakes, anti-skid is off. We can go ahead and get that anti-skid on. Of course, we know the packs are off. We know what's going on with that.
Tow connected and bypass been inserted. Release parking brake.
All right, let's do just that. Parking brake is released.
Start engine.
All right, we have the pushback truck. That is all good and taken care of. Let's go next. So we're good on that checklist. All right, let's go for engine start. We already have our pumps on. Ecam mat mode, auto mode check. All right. All right.
Airborne, Philippine 518.
Have a good flight, Captain.
Thank you very much, Captain.
You're welcome. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, same to you.
All right. So a little pilot camaraderie and you know, treating each other kind going. All right, Ecam has been checked. Let's come back down here. Again, hey guys, sorry I have not been looking at the chat here. Yo, what's up? Chief Sim Pilot. He'll be back in a minute. Flight Simulator 4723. What's going on? Glad to see everybody checking in. And thanks for joining the stream. Again, we're headed from Hong Kong to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. All right, we got everything here checked. Engine start selector is to on, and we can most certainly go ahead and start these engines. Let me turn this music down slightly in my ear. All right, let's check out the volumes here. Make sure we're not bumping it too loud. All right, I think we're good to go. Now, let's go ahead and do what we came to do. Let's go ahead and start the right engine, of course. We need to turn this ignition on over to ignition start and go ahead and fire that up. You can see the engine is coming alive. All right. Yes. Glad to see everybody joining the stream. Again, thanks for everybody checking in. You can see that engine is still stabilizing. And we're just going to wait for this engine to stabilize before we start the second engine. Still getting our pushback. And the second engine will be on the left side, of course, or the first engine. In the meantime, let's come down here as well. We need to get our trim situated. And you can see that's pretty cool. It did it by itself. Did you guys see that? It did its trims all by itself. I never knew it did that. I usually set it myself, but it did it by itself, and I think that's stellar. So job well done. Let's go ahead and get that start on number 1. You can see number 1 coming up now. All right, let's take a look at, there's Alpha taxiway. So this is Bravo by default. Now here's the funny thing that this pushback does sometimes. It's got us on this line even though we asked for this line, so we'll deal with it. But we're already on Bravo, so it's literally going to be a straight taxi all the way down. Okay, let's set that parking brake. All right.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Now that engine is all started, let's get that back to that. let's come up top now. We can start getting our generators on, of course, and our packs. Get our engine bleeds on. Now we can turn the APU generator off, turn the APU bleed off. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And now we'll put our isolation valve to auto. We'll put the air to normal. And get some of these heats here all situated. And there's a call there. Now we can also turn the APU off altogether. Generators off. And everything up top looks good, folks.
So it's disconnected and white gas pin has been removed. Hand signal
all right.
We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you. We'll make sure we get that hand signal on the left, of course. And guys, just for me not to make sure, or actually for me to make sure that I am actually doing the right thing, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm not doing the right thing because technically probably at this airport they would want me to go to squawk mode Charlie or squawk my transponder on when I turn the runway on, but I'm just going to go ahead and make that happen now. So let's go ahead and get this to on, and we're going to get it to TARA. And let me see if I'm going to check VATSIM. If I put it to auto, let me make sure it comes on, because the transponder with this aircraft interface with VATSIM was a little funky, and of course I have to do it to on. There we go, and it comes on. So if you do it to auto, in case you're flying on VATSIM and you're trying to make sure that you're doing the right thing, this has to be to on in order for it to actually send that that we're squawking Charlie and not standby to VATSIM. Not auto, but on. I'm assuming auto. If we get to the runway and we enter the runway, then it'll go to auto and it will be getting on, but I don't know. So we're just going to do it this way. Let's fix our QNH up over here to 10, I believe it was. Let's see, we'll check up top. It was 1028. So let's come back down here to 1028, of course. And we're almost out of here, folks. Again, I hope everybody is doing well. I'm having a great day myself. I got some business meetings later, but I figured I'd do a stream a little earlier today because I wanted to make sure I did a flight. I was jonesing for one. So now what we need to do, folks, is need to finish our checklist. You can see engine start. We did everything else, so it automatically did it, which is pretty nice. Now we need to do our after start, so engine controls and all that stuff. You can see all this is done, so anti-ice is required. We can do the APU stuff. So now we need to arm the spoilers, and we also need to get our flaps to 2. So you can see here our flap indicator is showing that the flaps are in transit. This blue one is going to absolutely be where it goes to. So you can see it's pretty cool. It indicates it, and it gives you a target. So now flaps are down, and you can also check that handle, and they're in the 2 position and indicating as well. So that's good. Now if you look down here, we're going to arm the spoiler. So engine spoilers are armed. Now what we need to do here, folks, is we need to come over here to the wheel page. Now on the wheel page, it's going to let us put our auto brake to high for takeoff. So auto brake is to high now. So that's going to be one of the things that we need to do. And let's keep it rolling. So now that we are done with that, trims are good. Let's do our takeoff configuration test. And all right, takeoff configuration is to normal. So now let's come back down here to our trusty dusty pitch trim is checked. All this is checked, folks, so we're not doing too bad. And electrical systems, you can see they're all on. Everything looks good. So let me make a note here. You see how this passenger data says off, and that's what it wanted, was for passenger data to be off in order for this to be green. So that switch that I was messing with a little bit earlier, that you actually need to, it's on by default. You need to open the dust cover and click it to where it's black or extinguished, and then now, because I've always gotten a error message with that, but not anymore. So we're good there. Let's go to our next checklist here, and cabin mode should be to auto, and cabin vertical speed mode should be to auto. So let's check that. Let's see, our oxygen is good here. Let us look at, let's see, our cabin speed, and this has to be obviously for the pressurization. So I need to find out where that is at. and I thought everything was to auto. Let's see, ground, cabin, that's all to auto. I'm thinking everything else was to auto. Let's see here. Cargo, engine, vent. Let's see. That won't even let me pick that. So, it's the cabin fans. Everything here should be to auto. Let's see, the cabin, cockpit, auto. Here it is right here. Okay, guys. You guys should have showed me where it was at. You're going to let me struggle for a few minutes, but I see how you guys are doing me. You're challenging me, making sure I can find where it's at. Auto and auto. Let's go down here now and try to check those again. Let's see if it'll allow us to go back and do pressurization. All right, let's reset it. Now they're to auto. They're both green. So we did that. So everything after start is good, and now we just have the back menu. Now for taxi, we need nose lights, runway turn-off lights, parking brake, thrust levers, and the auto brake to RTO. So let's get the runway turn-off lights, and now we're going to get these lights to taxi, which we just did. When you click this, it automatically goes up to on, but it's got to go to taxi. Learn that the hard way. And of course, let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Now we can come down here and it says auto brake, but it is set in this aircraft. It doesn't go to RTO, it just goes to high. The only other thing that I could imagine, and there's one other thing that we need to do, guys, that we almost missed. Thank goodness we didn't miss this. So we need to come back over here to our FMS, and we actually need to go click on the active. We need to do performance now and put in our V speeds, of course, because that is definitely not in. Transition altitude is 9,000. Let's look at our V speeds and put in our flex temp. So now we just need to come over here to airplane, perf calculator, and we almost missed it, but we didn't. 162 and 164 is the magic numbers. All right, we're going 162, 162, 164. We're not doing a flex takeoff, but I'll still put the temperature in there. So we're still doing Togo, but we're going to do a Togo takeoff. We're not doing flex, but now that it's in there, everything is set up. And as you can see, our V speeds are in there, and we've got our heading. And now that the V speeds are put in, you see everything up here is extinguished, so we don't need to worry about any of that. Let me just check something on this wheel brakes. Maybe mess with this thing here really again. Let's see, auto brake. Let's want to see something. If it lets us go the other way, let me see. Let's keep going up and see if it goes RTO. See, it doesn't do RTO. And this thing actually does nothing. Alright, so again, folks, that's the low. This is as high as it goes. So let's get that in high. Now I want to see if this does something. It doesn't do anything. Alright, so anyway, auto brake is the high. We're going to stand by that. You guys saw what we're doing. It doesn't even give us a opportunity to do anything else. And then, of course, lastly, let's do our flight controls check. All right. Full up and full down. Hey, honey. Glad to see you joining the stream. It's my wife. Thank you for all your support, honey. Can I get help with instructions to play VATSIM? You actually can, Amir Jung, and thank you for joining the stream. I will most certainly hook you up with that. All right, here we go. So we got wifey on board. We got Amir Jung. Can I help get instructions to play? Absolutely can. Again, everybody else, thanks. You guys see that? We are most certainly done with our flight controls check. Now we can just simply go back and check our hit recall all, of course, and we want to check do a systems check, and everything here is normal, so we're good to go. So ECAM has been checked. Now we can get out of here, folks. Let's go ahead and come over here and do our cab announcements, and we'll do doors to auto. Actually, we'll just go ahead and get right into the safety demonstration, of course. All right, let us get up out of here. Parking brake is released. Runway turnoff lights are on. Nose lights are on. Let's do this. Alright, folks, again, flying time today is 2 hours, 10 minutes. We do have some actual on-board entertainment. Hong Kong traffic, Cathay 318 taxiing Bravo for runway 07 left for departure on Taipei 1 Echo. And we'll be climbing via the SID for the departure for Hong Kong traffic. Alright, we have made our announcement. I like it. Got a nice little taxi speed of 14 knots going on here. Alright, we are official. Rolling down the taxiway. Alright, Hong Kong, it's been real. Don't do that, folks. Don't taxi from the passenger cabin and then presume to come back up and fly the plane. That's only something we're doing here. Alright. Again, everybody, welcome on board. Welcome on board. We are getting ready to depart here from Hong Kong. We are most certainly taxiing. We are on the VATSIM network. We saw we only had one pilot make a call out, and that's okay. Alright, we got our safety demonstration crack-a-lacking. Alright, we'll go to a sterile cockpit here in a second. Actually, we can do that now, folks. Let's go ahead and shut this music off for the time being. Alright, finish here in that safety demonstration. Alright, not doing too bad at all. I'm relatively okay. Traffic expect ILS 7 low approach. Alright, we got another Cathay aircraft coming in. Curious to see how far out he is. See if he's even going to be a factor. Alright. If we don't see his aircraft on final, we should be good to line up and depart. If we see him on final, then we will most certainly do what we need to do. We either hold short and watch him come in, or either we're going to get out of here post-haste. I'm thinking the post-haste is the best option. Alright. Beautiful green mountains here. Alright, thank you for wishing us an enjoyable flight. Alright, right down the line here. Right down the line we go. Alright, we got a taxi speed of pretty much standard taxi authorized speed of 29 knots. Really, you're encouraged not to go over 30. Usually. So we're going to go full distance. I don't see any aircraft on final, so that's indicating to me that we should be good for an immediate departure here. Alright, this goes all the way down and then it doesn't give us a choice to alright, let's slow this down a little bit. There we go. Alright, again, I don't see anything on final, so that's good. Slow her down a little bit and come on to make our nice little turn here. Alright. Swing her out wide. She's a big body, a wide body. Alright. Let's just come here and re-verify everything one more time. Alright, parking brake for the moment is set. We should not be moving. Again, let's check that final. Okay, we can get up out of here now. So let's come over here, of course, and do our before takeoff checks. Let's see. We're doing good there. EFI options, strobe lights on. TCAS TARA, we already got all that, so we're going to be good before takeoff. Let's go ahead and make our announcement. Let's get our strobes on, and then we need to get our taxi light. It's going to go off, but then back on. And then we need to do our landing lights on, of course, and then we're going to do our strobe lights on. And now let's run that checklist, and you can see it did everything there, so we're straight. And takeoff. We'll do chrono, thrust levers, all this. This all should pretty much go to green when we do this. So let's go ahead and make our announcement. Hong Kong traffic, Cathay 318 entered runway 7 left for immediate departure on the Tetu 1 Echo Star for Hong Kong traffic. Alright, I don't know if I said that star right, but that's what we're going with. Parking brake is released. Folks, we are most certainly ready for our takeoff. Again, let's just check that final. There is no aircraft that we see, so he is not inbound. I wish he would have essentially given us his location. We'll slow it up slightly. Alright, we are entering the runway, so let's start our time, which we did. Time has been started, and let's line ourselves up appropriately and get out of here. This aircraft is pretty enjoyable to fly. It wasn't at first. Flight factor didn't even have SIDS and stars in it, and it had a lot of funny behavior. There are some special things you do need to do to this aircraft in order to fly it correctly. You actually have to map some different brake toggle keys, so that because your typical braking is not going to work. Anyway, if you guys have any questions about that, you can most certainly let me know. Alright. Togo. Takeoff power is set. Airspeed's alive, 80 knots. Alright. And that's one thing I do love about this aircraft. She will get up to speed very quickly. Alright, V1 and rotate. Nice and smooth off the deck is what we want. Alright, positive rate. Gear is coming up. Let's double check that. Handle is up, and we're just going to fly the aircraft for a second here. Alright, just going to hand fly her. Give her what she wants. Alright, thrust lever to climb. Thrust lever is in climb. Now we can go ahead and get this autopilot on. Pretty smooth takeoff. Alright, we're going to keep those flaps out really quick until we accelerate. Alright, we can get those runway turn-off lights off and the taxi off. Leave the landing lights on, of course. Alright, now we're going one stage flaps up. You can see the aircraft picking up speed, following its course. Alright, landing gear is up and stowed. We can go ahead and turn the spoiler off now. Alright, the spoiler is no longer armed, and we can go flaps up completely and clean. And of course, now here you see we're climbing up to 5,000. There is no air traffic control. We're not going to follow that SID, so we're going to come all the way up. So now I've told the aircraft that I want it to climb unrestricted up to flight level 380. And that's a pretty good takeoff, folks. No complaints. Let's go ahead and look at this beautiful scenery. Again, thanks for flying with us today. You can see we were able to catch a bit of that beautiful scenery before we started our basically southern turn here. Let's come to the other side and just check and see what we can see, since it's such a beautiful morning here over Hong Kong. That is a beautiful view. Let's go ahead and see what we look like with a flyby. Oh, she's beautiful. Look at that. She is beautifully taking off. We love it. We love it. Let's go ahead and get our climb message going here.
Ladies and gentlemen, our aircraft
All right.
continues to climb. We would like to remind you that all flights of our airline
We gotta make sure we get that transition altitude at 9,000.
equipped with smoke detectors.
Again, welcome on board, everybody. Thanks for checking me out. I'm so happy to be doing this flight with you all today. We're just waiting for 9,000 to get towards our actual transition altitude.
To the front of the airplane,
So we should see this flash here. We're going to look at this 9,000 here.
in the back and center of the airplane. For your safety, when seated, we recommend to keep your seat belts fastened, even when the fasten seat belt sign is off.
All right, and let me check a chart and just make sure that is the actual transition altitude. Yeah, it's 9,000, so we should be going to see it's flashing now, which is what I expected it to do. So we can go ahead and go standard there, and we can go ahead and go standard there. Then of course we need to come over here to our standby and get it into the standard mode. This thing goes extremely fast. There we go. It's a miracle I even got it there. I wish it... Oh, it's got a standard push. There we go. Push the standard. I didn't know that, folks. You see that? Reading is fundamental. All right, folks. We are doing fantastic. And thank you, honey, for saying it's a beautiful view. Love you. You're always a beautiful view. Haha. See, you got to get some cool points with the wife when you can, fellers. You know, I've been doing this for a while, so you better pay attention. You know, happy wife, happy life. That is for sure. Love you, honey. All right. Everything's going good here. We do have the aircraft in the standard mode. Let's go ahead and come back here and check on our takeoff checklist, and everything went green, which is a good thing. Now, the thing about this aircraft, since the throttles are in the climb position, it will block us on this view. So now, during our actual manipulation of this situation, we have to come over and kind of do this view here. So let's go next. After takeoff, anti-ice as required. We don't need that, so we can also go next. And we can go into climb now. And we already set that. Cruise flight, anti-ice, seat belts as required, ECAM memos reviewed. And everything here is good. We can double check our cruising altitude, of course, here. Cruise altitude is flight level 380. And if we want to double check that, we have flight level 380 double check. And then we're going to cross check that up in here to make sure the target altitude is on the primary flight display, which it is. The aircraft now is doing its best to accelerate to 330 knots. So that's why we're not climbing so egregiously. The airplane is going to pick up speed, but it is a full complement of passengers today. So that is what is going on. In the meantime, I believe that we can go ahead and achieve some more tunes here. So let's make that happen for sure. All right. Again, thanks everybody for checking out the stream today. Today is the 30th of December. Tomorrow will be New Year's Eve. As we embark on a new year, 2021, it's going to be a great year, regardless of what happens as far as the current status of the globe and the health situation. We will get through it. We are not tripping in the least. We're too strong to get through it. Nothing can hold us down as the human race. Let's be smart, treat each other kindly. You know what? I even say treat animals kindly. Only go hunting if you gotta go hunting. Trust me, if that's for your sustainability, let's even get into 2021, let's even give the animals a break. And I eat meat, so I'm not saying that I don't eat meat. I'm saying if we can be a little kinder, let's be a little kinder all around. Do your part, do your part. That's all I'm saying. We got to do our part together. Let's increase our range on our display there so we can kind of get an idea of what is going on in our lives right now. And you can see that speed of 330 is just 10 knots, basically shy of being too fast. So I hope the aircraft knows what it's doing. I'm counting on the fact that it does. We're going to increase this range over here to 160 nautical miles, so we have a bit of a longer view. And it says the cockpit door is unlocked. I guess I shouldn't have done that, but I know you guys are being safe in the back. Let's go ahead and lock that door. So now we shouldn't have that message anymore. And we can also see what los pasajeros, so the passengers, are doing in the back. You can essentially use everything here. You can hit this video and you can see this guy. This guy's always, every time I fly this aircraft, this same passenger is always standing at the same spot. I think we need to get security on him. He very well could be a robot. Alright folks, we are continuing to climb here, and before you know it, we will have some onboard entertainment. We can essentially walk the cab now and make sure that everything is copacetic. What I do want you guys to notice, which I love about this aircraft, we've got our TCAS and everything on here. We've got weather situated, which there is no weather, and as you can see here, we have a nice vertical profile, which the aircraft is maintaining, and maintaining our flight path, so I like it. I like it a lot. Now this aircraft is pretty intuitive. If we come down here, we can get a lot of information about what's going on with this position report. You can go to monitor here and you can see everything we need to see here. Bearing, distance to, and this is going to tell us everything we need to know in case we were to give a flight report. You can also come here into position and come into the report, and it'll also give you some information about where you're at, the altitude, the last waypoint, and our destination distance. We have 880 nautical miles. We'll also be able to get some top of descent information on here as we go along. And there's some navigate page here that you can also do. You can put a list of waypoints in here and get specific information about it, of course, but we are okay. We don't need any of that, but it is good that we have all of that information on board. Makes our life a little bit easier here. We can also come over here to perf and see exactly how we're doing as well. Once we get into cruise, this will switch over and we'll be able to get some information from there. So right now, let's just get back into our flight plan so that in case we need to do any directs or anything like that, we can make it happen. But again, here we have other information in here that we're going to use is our nautical miles, our distance, and here's our altitudes. Now if we go down, we can see if the aircraft also planned for our descent, and you can see it did. So right here it's starting saying we need to be at VATSIM at flight level 316, and that's on our descent, and you can see these are waypoints, and so I'll double check these for our arrival essentially, but that's what we need to do. Alright, we're going to walk the cabin here in a second, and you can see it's got us, I mean, I like it. It's got us getting down, and then obviously this is the runway that we have already planned for, that we hope the winds stay where they're at. So now we're all pretty much done with that flight plan, and then we can just come right back up top and see what we're doing. So now we're back on the active flight plan. We just kind of did a loop-de-loop there. Alright, let's go to our next menu here, and then we're going to be going into the cruise menu, and we'll double check all that out. Cruise on FMS, ECAM memo, ECAM system page review, which will do that. So we'll check all that ECAM madness shortly. Still got this guy back there. I think we can go ahead and take him off. We know he's just going to stand there. Alright, he is off and cleared. Now what this cruise page does here, which we're not at cruise, but it's at climb, but this page will come up because we're in the climb. This is going to give us a whole bunch of information, our cabin pressurizations, all that good stuff, our fuel down here, our current gross weight, our flight time. Since we did hit our chronometer, we've been in the air 11 minutes and 53 seconds. Here's the temperature outside, saturated temperature, and all that good stuff here. Our delta P, which is also measuring pressurization for the cabin, our cabin altitude pressurization, of course, and just generally the fuel flow and how the aircraft is generally doing. Then up here you can see that we're in the climb mode, and packs are on, and we're doing good, folks. We got limit in 28 nautical miles, and there's really no cause for concern. Now let's see what we'll do here. Alright, we're going to go back here in the cabin in a minute and check things out. Again, everybody, thank you for joining. Again, quite the long flight. We do have some in-flight entertainment. I did a flight for you guys from Gillespie Field in San Diego to Los Angeles, or no, I'm sorry, as you were to Las Vegas in a Hawker 4000, which is a private jet. You can watch YouTube videos on it. They did a good job modding by RW Designs for X-Plane. There are some glitches in it. It has a VNAV function. When you watch the video from one of the points, don't use it because it's still glitchy. There's still a few little glitches in there, but it's still a very enjoyable aircraft to fly, certainly. So we're going to take a look at that video on one of the headrests here while we cruise. I'll be checking in with you guys. But other than that, folks, we're up, we're situated, and we're climbing. We've got about roughly, let's see here, 11,000 feet to go as it stands now, since we're going up to flight level 380. We just got into the 27,000 feet range and climbing, of course. Aircraft is nice and steady. I like the takeoff, so far, so good. All right, let's go ahead and jump back in the cabin. As you can see here, here's the right side of the cabin, far in the back, but we're going to walk it. You guys will be most certainly watching your in-flight entertainment on the back of one of these headrests, so don't worry yourself about that. And that guy is finally on final approach, so we definitely had more than enough room for him. But as you can see, we are in this wonderful cabin. And we'll come back to our seat, but let's walk it really quick. And this isn't where you'll be sitting, of course. But we can definitely walk the cabin, figure out what's going on with our lives. They got a nice little bar here, of course, which me as the pilot, I don't pay any attention to. You gotta, blow your nose or do whatever else your business is. There is the restroom, the room of rest. So you can see we've got some passengers up here, or at least we should. They should be on board. Okay, I guess the passengers are only modeled up in this cabin here. So we are just going to cruise right along. Looks like that guy's resting comfortably. Let's go up and check what spirits we have here. See that wing over there? Everybody's looking in fine fashion here. So here we have the bar, and you can see it looks like it's well stocked. So that's awesome. You can see got a couple of passengers here just chilling as they do. Let me check on the stream here. Everything is looking good. So let's continue our little whirlwind tour. And then we'll check to see exactly, we'll take a little break here and check to see exactly where the aircraft is. Slide ourselves over and make sure we're right in the aisle. So we're just continuing to walk the cabin. You can see they got these nice little TVs right here, which is pretty slick. Not bad if you're sitting here. We actually have a different location. We weren't so fortunate to get a first class seat, which is okay. All right, let's go back up really quick and check on our status. Still climbing. Everything is copacetic. All right. They'll be doing some announcements. You probably won't hear that. You can see our top of climb is in roughly about 27 nautical miles. And we'll be done climbing. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and go back to our location in the aisle, of course. Let's continue our nice little walk before we get into our flight entertainment. And this is the cockpit, of course. Can't go in there. You need a keypad, and here's a little galley up here, of course. Here's some jump seats for the flight staff. So we've completed our tour this way, I should say. All right. Slide ourselves over and walk forward, of course. There we are. Get our little view. Let's go down a little bit. There we go. All right. So we'll head back to our little wing seat here, of course. Making our way back, checking everything out. Look at those big turbo fans outside, power on this aircraft. Let me stop really quick, make sure nobody's chatting me up. Again, everybody, thanks for joining, thanks for hanging out. And we're going to continue this cabin tour before we get into our onboard entertainment. Looks like everybody's all smiles, especially with no masks on. Must be nice. We all remember a time where we didn't need masks. All right, folks. Making a nice little cruise through the cabin. Checking everything out. Everybody doing good here? You guys need any drinks yet? You good? All right. We will most certainly be getting some entertainment. You guys will be able to get your own drinks on this Cathay Pacific. Still, my pronunciation of Asian words is absolutely horrible, so I'm sorry about that, guys. You can see a little wing view there. But we most certainly have some great entertainment here. Maybe we'll go and sit right here, and that's pretty much too close. Maybe we'll do a little wing view here. Let's see if we want to come and sit here this time for our seat. For now, that may change. All right. So this will be our view for now. This wing at this location, and this is where you guys are actually going to be sitting, watching this TV, kind of close to the front, but not. But you got a view of this, and this is where your entertainment will take place. Let's check some stuff out here. We're almost to our top of climb, and I just wanted to make sure we achieved that cruise altitude, so there's nothing to worry about. And you can see now it went from climb thrust, and now it's on Mach thrust, and this is where we're cruising at 0.83 Mach. Now, of course, we can come here and check all that off. All right, and the rest we don't need to worry about because we are not taking care of any of that at this point. So everything is looking good. Again, we have our information on board. Now we can come over here, of course, and you can see some information down here still, what we already saw. Now let's go ahead and see if it's going to report our to our top of descent. If not, we do have another actual, let's see, usually it gives us top of descent information, so we'll find where that's going to be at. It might even be in our performance, our cruise, which will give us our top of descent information. Runway 7 left, it doesn't, so we'll figure out where we get our top of descent information. I believe we can get it in one of these reports here. Alright, let me double check here, and this might get it to us. There it is. So this one does give it to us. So our top of descent, we have 645 nautical miles, so that's the UTC now is that's the time is 2:16:02:16. Well, if we look on our clock at the time, 02:16, let's see, it is 050, so about an 02, it's about to be 01, so about an hour and a half or so, and that should get us taken care of. So we'll be doing lots of checking, of course, on that. And yeah, I almost wonder if we can get that pop out down there before we start our actual in-flight entertainment. Okay, it does pop out. And it does move, so this will actually be your guys' indicator of when our top of descent is, so that you guys don't know. So we're going to keep this up, and let's go ahead and let me check on any comments. We're going to go back to the cabin now, and first of all, let's double check and make sure the plane is looking great, which it is. Everything is good. We're cruising, Mach, no worries there whatsoever. So now let's go ahead and go back to your guys' seat. And we're going to put this situation right to the next to you, so that you absolutely know when our top of descent is. This indicator right here where it says 634, once that gets down, perhaps within 50 nautical miles, that's when everyone will for sure want to make sure that you are on board and doing what you're supposed to do. Alright folks, let's go ahead and stop the music. So again, we are going to have some in-flight entertainment that is brought to you by me, of course, Dre Sanchez, aka the Motivated Sim Pilot. I hope you enjoy. This is your seat on the aircraft. Of course, you got a nice little bird's eye view of the bar, and now we're gonna have some in-flight entertainment. Look guys, I'll be checking in, making some announcements, so you'll be seeing the video, but you won't necessarily hear it when I'm making those announcements. You hear my voice come over the speaker system and give you an update. Other than that, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. And there's not much to do except to enjoy the in-flight entertainment, grab you some peanuts, some beverages will be coming. And you know what? Just for you guys, the beverages are going to be free on this flight. All food is free. All you got to do is access your own refrigerator and your own repository of drinks wherever you are, and it'll be free on the flight. At least there won't be any overhead cost for me on that. Hopefully it's free to you. And anyway, again, thank you guys for joining me on this Cathay Pacific Flight 318 service from Hong Kong to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. We are headed south. Again, we're continuing our world tour. Here is a flight again from that I did for you guys the other day, which no one has seen. I barely even saw it, and it's going from Gillespie Field in San Diego, which is the general aviation airport that I generally use when I'm in San Diego. And we fly to Las Vegas. We got some dignitaries that we wanted to fly there. We were going to do 2 legs, but only did 1 leg. We just dropped them off, and it's just assumed the other people got brought back by another service. So without further ado, I want you guys to enjoy the in-flight entertainment, and I'll be checking in with you real soon. Alright, we are at Gillespie Field in San Diego, California on a rainy Monday. Alright folks, we are going to be taking this Hawker 4000. We have some elite, or quote-unquote elite passengers, dignitaries that want to fly from San Diego to Las Vegas, of course. Then we'll be picking up a load on the way back and coming right back here to Gillespie Field in San Diego. Now, whether we do that today and do 2 legs or we just do 1, I don't know. We'll figure that out once we get to Las Vegas, figure out how this flight goes. In the meantime, we are going to get the passengers on board. They're in the car here, obviously getting ready to get on. And you can see we still have the aircraft all covered up with all the engine covers and pitot covers and chocks and all that good stuff, which we will go on board and get off. You can YouTube this aircraft, and there's I think 1 good cockpit video of the real aircraft taking off, so they did a pretty good job on the modeling on this thing. However, let's go ahead and jump on board at this point and bring the aircraft alive. Before we do anything, and just FYI, we are on the Pilot Edge network today for ATC, and so before we get started, we most certainly need to turn the batteries on. And you can see right away the actual ATC came on, but we'll extinguish that because we do need to get the external power on. So we're going to grab our rusty dusty cell phone here and request that GPU, and then we can also get rid of the cars that the passengers have boarded. And you can see right away, again, this is your captain speaking from the flight deck. You are enjoying in-flight entertainment. Thank you for joining me on this Airbus A350-900XWB for Cathay Pacific Airlines Flight 318 service from Hong Kong all the way down to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. I want you to enjoy the in-flight entertainment. You will notice over here to the right is the actual distance where we're going to stop and descend, so you get a clue if you want to step away from the stream and come back. Once this bleeds down all the way to maybe where it says 50 nautical miles, you can jump back on board. Otherwise, if you want to hang out with us, feel free to do so and enjoy the in-flight entertainment. Probably they scope in sometime, but here we are, November 350 Kilo Tango here in San Diego, and of course we will be traveling northeast, so to speak, so that we can get to Las Vegas. So we will be using the all actual real charts because it is Pilot Edge, so it's a different animal than VATSIM. They both have their pros and cons. For realism and immersion, though, of course, Pilot Edge is where it's at, especially if you're trying to hone in those skills and actually get tested on it. So in the meantime here, let's see if we can get some lights up in here. I don't know if this is going to make any difference. There we go. So it does make a little bit of difference. So this is that floodlight here. Let's see. Okay, that's it right there. I like that. It was kind of dark in here. And let's see what we get here. Okay, that's brightening that up, and that's brightening that up. Okay, that looks pretty good. And let's just continue to look around the aircraft. All right, now what we can do is call for our flight plan. We already have filed. We need to come here, and this is clearance, and of course this is the ATIS. So
Altimeter 29905, arriving and departing runways 27 left, 27 right, localizer Delta approach in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information. Whiskey.
Alright, whiskey's current.
Gillespie Airport, ATIS information. Whiskey 03350, wind 240 at 7, visibility 2.5, heavy rain, 300 scattered, ceiling 2,200 broken, 6,500 overcast, temperature 10, dew point 8, altimeter 29905. Arriving and departing runways 27 left, 27 right.
Alright, altimeter
localizer
is
Delta Virgin use.
29905.
Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions.
Go back on over.
1713 Santa Barbara Tower, runway the correct runway 25,
So then
clear
call
for
for
take.
clearance.
25 clear.
And then I'll show you guys where we're at in the airport and all that good stuff.
Southwest 322, runway left, clear to land.
Clear left to left, Southwest 322.
Alright, just make sure there's no more transitions.
Center Rear Tower, Cessna 739 Delta Tango, clear the runway at Alpha 6, taxi to transit and parking.
November 88 Quebec, house runway 2 right at hotel, to parking via Hotel Alpha.
Alright, he's not responding. Gillespie clearance, November 350 Kilo Tango, looking far to Las Vegas.
November 9 Delta Tango, parking via Alpha, remaining frequency pass for the Cat 4.
Pass the Cat 4.
November 88 Quebec, cross runway 2 right at hotel, taxi to parking via Hotel Alpha.
Just waiting around here. So that
November 5088 Quebec, John Wayne.
1088 Quebec is Overshore Taxiway Hotel.
November 88 Quebec is the 4th time I've tried to reach you. I need you to listen out a little bit better on frequency. Cross runway at hotel, taxi to parking via Hotel Alpha.
always interesting day here on Pilot Edge course.
Cross the runway via hotel, taxi to parking via Hotel Alpha 4088.
November 13 Charlie, contact Santa Barbara departure.
Contact Santa Barbara, departure 133.
November 350 Kilo Tango, Gillespie clearance. Clear the Las Vegas Airport, Padres to departure, check the transition that is filed. Maintain 3000, squawk 2542.
Clear to Las Vegas is filed. Padres 2 chicken transition. Climb and maintain 3000, squawking 2542, November 350 Kilo Tango.
Number 0 Kilo Tango, correct.
Alright, so readback is correct, which is most certainly a good thing. So now let's go ahead and switch frequencies and turn him off for a moment. There we go. That way we can, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the runway here, or the situation in which we find ourselves, so that we know exactly what we're going to do. But we can most certainly assume we are taking off, of course, from the ATIS 27 right, so that'll be easy taxi. Looks like we can do Delta 7, Delta 8, all the way around to 27 right. We don't physically cross over 27 left, however, they may tell us to be aware if there's any traffic, but this runway is most certainly too short for this aircraft, so the optimal runway is going to be runway 27 right for takeoff, of course, and then we are leaving on the Padres 2 departure. And so what we can definitely see here is that we've been giving top altitude of 3,000 feet, and we need to be under 8,000 at Gwin. So upon departing runway 27, let me slide this up, it's kind of low. Climbing right turn heading 320, expect vectors to cross Gwin at or above 8,000, then on track 308 to Padres. So essentially, climb right turn heading 320 to 3,000 and expect vectors. That's why he gave us 3,000. So let's just write that down so we can get it into our heading. So it'll be a climbing right turn 320 to 3,000, and we can make that happen. Now I'm going to show you a quick cool way about this Hawker that's really nice. But before we do that, let's give you another little refresher tour. Back here is the cabin. You can see the no smoking seatbelt signs are illuminated, and of course you can also observe that our in-flight entertainment television also acts as our map. You can see right now we're south of Los Angeles here, and we'll be heading to Las Vegas. And you know, so it's a pretty nice cabin here, and we've got some little options right here of lighting. You can fix the cabin lighting, make it dimmer, darker, which is a pretty cool feature that they put in here. So we'll leave it kind of right there. And again, this is your captain speaking, Dre Sanchez, the Motivated Sim Pilot. Again, thanks for riding along with us on board this Cathay Pacific Flight 318 service from Hong Kong down to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. You are currently enjoying some onboard entertainment, a flight that I did just recently from Gillespie Field in San Diego all the way over to Las Vegas in a Hawker 4000. And just as a reminder, pay attention to this. This DIST stands for distance, and we're knocking the distance down. And again, once we get to maybe about 100 nautical miles or 80 nautical miles, we'll do a little bit more planning and prepare for our descent into the Ho Chi Minh City area in this Airbus A350-900XWB. Again, enjoy the onboard entertainment, and I'll be checking in with you soon. As far as the bearings are concerned, so let's do that. FMS and FMS, and that's what we need there. We'll do that, of course, on the first officer side as well. We're going to click FMS here, and then the bearings, of course, we want them to follow the FMS and the FMS, of course. So there we go there. We are all good to go, and now we can go ahead and jump down and start getting our flight plan in. So the way we do that, again, everything here is with this MCDU. So the first thing we're going to do is get our runway situated here. We're going to do the KC, or Gillespie Field. We're going to put it right here in the airport, and you can see it comes up. And then we're going to select a runway, of course. So here we'll come there, and then the way you move this is basically just clicking this. So we're going to do 27 right, of course, and we're going to select our instrument departure, which is Padres 2, and our transition is going to be the chicken. Bok bok. So now that SID is actually stored. So now what we can do is come over here and we can start adding our route waypoints, of course. So waypoint 1, now you have to come down here and select which type of waypoint it is. So after chicken VOR, which is actually a fix, we are going to go right into SEBI, which is another fix. So that's so we have to first hit fix here, and then SEBI. All right, and SEBI is being put in here, so I will just throw that in there and click save, and see now we're on to number 2. Then we're going to go to YILA, which is another fix, and YILA is Yankee Echo Lima Alpha Hotel. Right in there, save that onto the third waypoint, which is also the transition into our arrival, which is Meissen. And it's also the fix. As you can see, plug that in and save that, of course. And then now we can most certainly go into back to MCDU, and we can select the arrival. We are arriving at Las Vegas. Enter that right in there, and then of course we don't know the runway, but we can just we'll switch the runway up later. Let me look at the winds in Las Vegas, of course, here, just try to get an idea of where we are going to be landing, even though this is subject to change. Boy, you can hear some serious weather outside there. So the winds are out of the west. So that's a pretty easy situation there, and that's gonna pretty much be 26 left. So let's and the Kepic 6 is really what we're arriving on, and I've used that several times. And now we can select the star, which is going to be the Kepic 6. Let's see here, Caddy. Let me double check and see what our star is, which is the Kepic 6, which is page 104. So let's go next. I was about to get worried there, and here is our arrival. There's Kepic 6 Meissen, and the select approach transition. That's also going to be if I remember on this, it's Preno. Let's see here if that is the case. And let's see here, approach 26 left. Yes, and it's Preno. Preno is also the last point on our arrival, so we'll enter that. And then of course the approach is going to be ILS 26 left. We're going to hit OK. Now that's been stored, and we've already done our flight waypoints. So now what you have to do is go to flight plan, then you have to hit this execute, and then once that comes in, you see everything that we need to take care of right here, and then you can just scroll through the fixes here. You can see there's plenty of them here, and these are all of the waypoints that lead us right up to our arrival onto the airport. So we pretty much have a foolproof plan. If we need to make any changes, we'll just put the aircraft in the heading mode and then adjust our flight plan or waypoints and go from there. So that has been executed. So now if you come back over here to this MCDU index, we can go to the perf page now, and this lists our V speeds in here based off our weights and flaps 12 takeoff. So everything over here is looking pretty good. We'll take off flaps 12. Total weight today is this, and then of course if we go to the next page, or perf 2, you can see our estimated landing weight and our VREFs as it stands right now. So we'll go back to perf 1. So it's pretty cool. Now the runway we're going to select is wet, and you see that V speed change from V1 is changing significantly. So the reason why that is, it's going to take the aircraft longer to stop, which means we don't get such a fast speed to accelerate to in order to make that final decision whether we're going to commit to the takeoff or not. It's wet, so that means it takes the aircraft more room to stop, so our V1 goes back to 114. It's about a 12 knot difference if you look. Watch when I do dry, 126 down to 114, so that's pretty significant, and then we'll be at V1 for a while until we accelerate to V rotate. So that's going to be a scary 16 or 15 knots right there for us to handle till we take off, but we should be fine because this thing launches literally up in the sky like a rocket. Alright, now let's go back to our radio. We do need to put our squawk code in of 2542, so 2542, and we'll type that in, and from that point on our call sign is going to be all different. Our call sign is actually November 350 Kilo Tango, so don't pay any particular attention to that. And then now, of course, we need to put our altimeter in, which was 29905. You can see that rain coming down, and we don't have any windshield wipers on this thing, so this ought to be interesting. At any point, the altimeter is 29905, and was a little bit lost since I'm always jumping around aircraft where that 299.5 is at. So let's see. Alright, let me remember how to do this one. So we got to drag it down. The interfaces of how the mouse and everything works with these are a little different. 299.5. Let's jump over to the first officer side and do the same thing. I actually wish it was one of those aircrafts that did it for you both on the same side, just because we don't actually have the first officer. But whatever. Alright, now we can turn on all the AC outlets, the main galley, and we can start getting ready to get out of here. In the meantime, let's look at our charts again for Gillespie Field. That way I can show you guys the frequencies. Again, this is where we have to use the real charts and make everything nice and pretty. So let's bring it down here, and we'll notice that our tower is to take off is 120.7, and if you go in a little further, you'll see that the ground is 121.7. So just the difference of one digit for ground and tower. And then our departure is 12435, and that's always going to be on the chart as well. So if you come and look at the SID for the Padres 2, it should echo that same frequency, but the departure frequency is always going to be on there. And now this actually SoCal departure for the Padres 2 is actually 119.6, so I'm going to write that down and we'll put that in. And so now we know all of our frequencies again. So let's pull this back up again. Tower is 1207, ground 1217. Ground is usually either 1217 or 1219 or something like that. So in this case, the cliche 1217 is in there. So now we can come right down here and do 121.7, and that's going to be our ground. And then we can just go ahead and switch that up. That's going to be the first one. Then the next one is 120.7, and that's going to be our actual tower frequency. And then as you can see here, let's see here, I'll go ahead and put that in. We're done with the ATIS, and actually I'll put the ATIS back in anyway just to be on the safe side, which is 2545.
Santa Barbara approach 1713 Charlie. We'd like to we're expecting to flight full missed approach.
So now we have all those in. We'll keep our departure in COM 2 just in case that's what we decide to use.
Thanks for the plan.
And then essentially we would just come down here, and actually we were on COM 2, but we essentially were picking up the same frequencies because that's the frequency that we'll be talking on for our departure, so it tuned into that right away versus the standby frequency, which is the actual ATIS. Okie dokie, let's go ahead and get this aircraft started. Let's look up top and get our APU on. So the first thing we're going to do obviously is hit this start stop. We'll get some APU lights coming on here in a second. We're also going to want to open that isolation valve. Got to drag it way over here, and then once the APU comes up online, which it's only at 35% right now, and you might hear it, we do have a total of 5,223 pounds of fuel. That should be more than enough fuel to get to Las Vegas on this short flight. Alright, almost where we need to be, about 10% more here. Alright, APU should be available now. So we can still look up top here just like this. We can we need to get the APU generator on. We'll be turning these off here in a second. So let's get that generator on and the bleeds. Now we can extinguish the external power, of course. Now let's come down here to the old rusty dusty cell phone, remove the GPU, and go ahead and get those engines started. Alright, now that we are going to get the engines started, let's go ahead and make sure we have everything good to go. APU bleed is on, APU gen on, that isolation valve is over so that we can use that heat. So let's go ahead and kick that beacon on now.
94247 is clear of the runway 8
and then we'll get
Charlie
the rest of our bleeds and packs and all that good stuff on.
247 back to the parking via Charlie. Monitor ground. Pass for the I-3.
Now that that's on, we can put our rudder trim power on.
247
let's go ahead
back
and start
to
the
via
right
Charlie
engine.
and monitor ground. Thanks.
Right engine is kicking on. we'll get our TCAS on
Santa Barbara Tower 129.
one side and get our radar on the other side.
November 1290 Whiskey, you going to...
We'll just make it easy if we could just taxi up ahead to the left here at Charlie. We'll call it
Anti-skid.
there.
That works, November 90 Whiskey.
Alright, we are also good to start the left engine. Put that ignition on.
Charlie parking will remain with you. Thanks, 129 Whiskey.
Alright. And the left engine is coming up. Once the left engine gets stabilized, we will most certainly do our thing. Let's get over here, systems check. We're going to do our flight controls here in a second. Alright, looks like we have two good starts. Let's go ahead and go up top. Now we can go ahead and put our bleeds on and our packs. We can close the isolation valve, left gen and right gen on. And we have everything up top looking good. Now we can disconnect the APU generator, turn off the APU bleeds, and stop the APU altogether. And everything else up top is extinguished and looking good, so no worries there. We are going to be taking off today flaps 12, so let's go ahead and get that down to the 12 position, and we'll also make sure it's indicating here. Now let's come over here and do a flight controls check. Full up, full down. You can see the elevator, and then aileron left, aileron right, and rudder left, and rudder right. You can see the yaw damper and the parking brake are the only things on. So then now we can just run through the rest of our systems here. Fuel, everything is in the green, and electric. Let's go back to status. Now we'll put this on the map as well, and we're going to have the radar on weather on that side. So that one will be on. And then of course, before we call for taxi, let's go ahead and turn our transponder on. The way you do that in this aircraft, you come right over here, and we'll just go ahead and put the transponder on into altitude reporting. So now our transponder is on, and we are good to call for taxi. I think we should maybe tune in and get the ATIS one more time. Let's make sure it's still whiskey. So let's get that on over there and hit the comms button.
You have information X-ray.
Okay, we got X-ray, so this is a good thing. We checked.
Gillespie Airport, ATIS information X-ray, 03550, wind 170 at 7, visibility 7, few clouds at 300, 1,800 scattered, ceiling 2,800 broken, temperature 10, dew point 8, altimeter 29 or 9 or 6, arriving and departing runways 9 or left, 9 or right, RNAV runway 9 left approach in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information X-ray.
Alright, we do have X-ray.
Gillespie Airport.
Now what we'll do is we'll switch our frequency. Again, this is your captain speaking. We are in the cruise phase of the flight, flight level 380. If you notice the FMC to the right of your headrest onboard entertainment, you'll see that we have 423 nautical miles until we start descending. We are en route from Hong Kong to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Thanks again for joining the stream. Enjoy the flight, and we are now back to our flight entertainment. Thanks again for joining the flight from the flight deck. 9er left via Delta, cross runway 17 at Delta, November 350, kilo takeoff. Alright, so we got full takeoff situation, but now this is one of those things where we have to go back and
53456
repair our departure.
Inbound visual runway.
Now we need to select the runway. He said it's going to be 9er left.
56 Long Beach Tower, runway 8 left.
To that. And now that's been updated. Now we should be able to come back over here and basically go to the flight plan and verify what we're doing. Padres, GPS, CALL, and 790 up to 3,000. So now
508 November Delta, ground
left.
Runway 16 right.
So now 9 left. We are doing a right turn heading 165. And
November Delta is Alpha 316 right.
Now this one says right.
Alpha 38. runway
165
right.
MZB
That's right,
3000, expect vectors. Okay, so
November,
essentially we just need to change our
Alpha
climb over to
Charlie to 16 right.
right, heading turn 165.
You say that
Alright, so
again,
now we gotta come
Delta.
back over here, go into the
Runway,
index,
it'll work
autopilot,
twice.
now we'll just do
Where's twice in the
165.
transmission? Runway 16 right, runway 16 right.
Alright,
Taxi
so
via
165.
Alpha. Taxi
Top
via
altitude
Alpha.
is
Charlie,
15,000,
Charlie.
but we're going to 3,000.
Alpha,
Expect vectors
Charlie,
across Gwent at or above 8,000 and on track to Padres. So now if we need to come back up here, we need to make sure we have exactly those in there. Win and Padres. So we're good. Alright, so now let me do one thing with you guys. Burning fuel. Let me just now show you the parking taxi. It's going to be Delta this way.
Right, Charlie,
And
we'll
we're going to
change
come all the
runway
way
8 right,
down.
runway 8
So
right.
we'll basically get on this Delta right here and just keep taxiing all the way down, so that's too easy.
Lindbergh Tower, TVM 13
Alright.
Whiskey. Do you want us over to departure?
It is time for departure.
Rolling through with you,
let's
sorry
get our
about that.
taxi
Got
on
a quick
and
departure. I thought you
recognition
switched
lights on, and we don't need any of that on until we get there. We do have
over to
our
departure, we'll
flaps
do
to take off, and we have our MCP set up, as you can see here, and we're good to go. Let's go down to that, actually let me check this flaps 12 speed if it listed here, which it doesn't, but we should be okay. We'll get those flaps up pretty quick. Alright, again, taxi lights are on, recognition lights are on, everything looks clear to the right except the rain, my folks. And yeah, now we can get out of here. Okay, parking brake is released, and without further ado, let's make it happen. Again, welcome aboard to this special flight here. Gotta get these passengers on over to Las Vegas. They've chartered this private jet flown by yours truly. Alright, we'll see if we can't snake over here really quick and pick up Delta. Alright, folks. Alright, now we are on taxiway Delta, and we can most certainly look right and look left to make sure that runway is all clear. Alright, gonna go strobe really quick, and landing light left and right.
At Ontario.
Crossing this runway.
020 at 1 gust 20.
That's all done, so we can get that strobe back off and the landing lights.
And it's now Padres November.
Flight time today is about an hour and 1 minute.
Request a left downwind departure for Burbank Airport.
November 508 in Delta, left downwind approved, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Alright, alright.
16 right, Padres November Delta. Santa Maria Tower, Skyline 171 Charlie 5000.
Taxiing right away. And right along,
Number
Delta.
1712 Charlie, Santa Maria Tower, just check in with
Not
your
a problem.
approach. You check in with the tower.
Train going on. It looks like
Directly
this
how your
trains are
approach
racing.
terminates.
Almost.
This is going to be a missed approach. I was asked my approach
See
to
that?
contact you right
It's
now.
one train, that's strange, and the train's hooking
No,
left.
I'm
that's
not
the
saying that
train.
you should have contacted me, but just checking with your altitude doesn't give me a sense of where you are right for the airport. I don't have any radar down here in Santa Maria, so if you check in and say, look, laser DME back course Alpha, that helps me a lot to realize where you are. That's all I'm saying. Runway November 1713 Whiskey, continue, correction 13 Charlie, continue approach, advise going this.
Got it, understood. Then we'll continue on advise on going this to 13 Charlie.
Alright, remember right turn to 165.
Check. Radio check, please.
Calling for a radio, it was a little broken, but it was loud and clear. Number 8 Charlie Lima to parking, monitor ground, good night.
We'll slow up a little bit here.
Here to park. And monitor ground, tell approach, great job, and you as well. Thank you so much.
There's a little run-up area over there to the left,
Yeah.
which we won't be needing that. This is actually the first time I've taken off east.
American 317, Lugano with
Gillespie Field.
27, taxi via Bravo.
Alright, let's get down here and switch over the radio frequencies and announce that we are ready for departure.
9693 Quebec at Atlantic, ready to taxi for a south departure with Kilo.
9693 Quebec is field ground, only 30 right, taxi via Alpha Bravo.
Alright, we'll ease up here.
30 right via Alpha Bravo 9693 Quebec.
Parking brake is set. Gillespie Tower, November 350 Kilo Tango, holding short, runway 9 left on Delta 1, ready for departure. Alright.
November 350 Kilo Tango, Gillespie Tower, only 9 or left, cleared for takeoff.
9 or left, clear for takeoff, November 350 Kilo Tango. Alright folks, well we do have the cleared for takeoff, all good to go. Landing lights, strobe, everything up top is good. Cabin is secure for takeoff. And parking brake is released.
187,
Well, me charge Skyhawk 456 at Kilo 3, request taxi to Ross Aviation.
Alright, nice and easy on the runway here.
Number 53456.
Turn to
You
165.
said Ross Aviation. What taxiway would that be nearest to?
Taxiway Bravo 456.
Number 456, turn on Kilo Bravo to parkings for my 12 at Kilo.
Alright. Takeoff power is set.
Bakersfield ground, Cessna 3455 Echo is near U.S. Customs by taxiway Alpha 1. West taxi active via pod departure.
Taxi via Kilo, cross runway 12, then turn left on Bravo, Skyhawk 456.
345 is at Bakersfield ground, only 30 right, taxi via Alpha Bravo.
30 right via Alpha 1 Bravo 3455
And
Echo.
we'll go ahead and start our control turn. Back on the power a little bit.
Living Tower, Cathay Pacific over Delta inbound for landing. With information.
Let's get that yaw damper on. Now we can go autopilot. We'll go heading. And we'll go flight level change. Flaps up. Nice clean takeoff. We are turning
Number 35 Kilo Tango, connect SoCal departure.
over to SoCal departure number 350 Kilo Tango.
Who else called?
Alright. SoCal departure November 350 Kilo Tango is currently at 3,000 on a heading of 165. Alright, we got to slow her down.
Number 350 Kilo Tango SoCal departure with a contact. Turn right heading 270, climb and maintain 13000.
130,270 on the heading number 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, so now this is that wonderful feature here where we can come into the autopilot and we're going to do 270 on the heading and then we can go 130,000 for the altitude. And then we can simply do flight level change again. And of course we can adjust that speed. So perhaps 240. Because this thing will get away from you. Now you can see the speeds balancing out and we're making our turn here to heading 270. Climbing up to 130,000. See, the aircraft is now climbing. It's just catching that speed first. I don't even know why this thing acts like it doesn't want to climb faster than that, simply because this thing is a beast. Alright, so we are up and at 'em. Let's go ahead and get our taxi lights off and recognition lights off. We'll keep everything else on.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, fly heading 280, contact Descent 128.6.
Center 128.6 and heading 280 on November 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, 1286. 128.6. And they want us to do 280 on the heading. Getting some weird graphics here. So 280, and now we'll contact center. Let's make sure to see which one we put it in. Alright, we put it on the left side. Los Angeles Center, November 350 Kilo Tango, 7.1, climbing 13,000.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, Los Angeles Center, climb and maintain flight level 230.
Up to flight level 230, number 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, now we go up to flight level 230, back to the autopilot, and we just plug it in right here. That's why I love this aircraft. And now, once we get above 10,000, we can also control our speed as well. Again, from the flight deck, this is your captain, Dre Sanchez, the motivated sim pilot. We are en route on the way to Ho Chi Minh City from Hong Kong in this Cathay Pacific Flight 318 full service. And you are experiencing the on-flight entertainment. We do have 322 nautical miles to descend to, so if you take a look at this number here, that'll indicate when our top of descent is or when we start descending. So as it stands right now, we still have a little bit en route until our descent starts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the onboard entertainment, and I'll be back checking in with you soon. Thanks again for flying along and joining the stream. The logo and nav lights remain on. You can see we are above this lovely layer of clouds. And now we can up our speed to 280. So let's go here now and do just that here. And now 280 has been accepted. Now aircraft is going to pitch down to echo that. We've also got this auto throttle here that I haven't quite figured out. I believe we engage it here, or either take it off, I don't know.
Number 1713, Charlie, hold at Guadalupe as published. Expect
but I'll just use the throttles. I'm not scared to do that either. It's no big deal.
Advise your intentions.
Climb is continuing at, we've got our nose pitched up quite a bit, and you can see again, once again, he does have us direct to Gwin.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, fly this heading, join the departure.
We'll maintain this heading for departure for number 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, so he wants us to stay on this heading, which we will do. For whatever reason, there must be traffic in or around the area.
American 317 contacts Los Angeles Center 124.62. Number 15 Mike Whiskey, I apologize. Radar contact.
Little view here
4 miles east of Santa Catalina.
From the cabin. Let's go on the other side. You can see that wing bouncing around there.
Contact Los Angeles Center 124.62.
Los Angeles Center 124.62, November 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, 124.62.
Center American 317, 6.2, climbing vehicle due to departure.
American 317, Los Angeles Center, climbing tape level 270.
Okay, so that just means that it's
228 Mike Echo contact SoCal approach
12625.
Good night, you're welcome.
Alright, let's see where we're at. Los Angeles Center, November 350 Kilo Tango, 15.4, climbing flight level 230.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, Los Angeles Center, climb maintain flight level 290.
Up to flight level 290, November 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, so we've got our final cruise up to our cruising altitude, 290.
Taxi 28 Mike Echo, SoCal approach. Expect the ILS 290
I
right
love this
approach.
aircraft. You just plug it right in and it does it right away. It's very nice. We're at 16,000, going all the way up to flight level 290. Alright, let's jump over to your side, or the first officer's side, and see what is crack-a-lacking. We've got the weather radar on, and we're looking at having...
Number 15
checking
Mike
this
Echo,
fuel
SoCal
here.
approach. Catalina altimeter 29091.
Just making sure we are going to have more than enough fuel once we get to location, which is saying 1,000 something pounds, so we should be good there. I always got to check that. The reason why that's important with this aircraft too, when I go into fuel planning and do all that stuff, the sim brief and other websites do not have a designation for the Hawker 4000. Essentially, I have to use like the Hawker 800A or something like that for fuel. So I have to make my best guesstimation on the fuel based off of this aircraft. So I kind of use the same aircraft. I always dump about 1,000 or at least 500 to 800 more pounds of fuel in this thing just to double check. So we'll stay on this heading until he gives us direct GWIN or whatever the case may be, and then we can go into the nav button here, but that's not the case so far. So let us increase the range on the first officer side. So I'm going to increase the range on their MFD, or multifunction display. And it's clustered. It's got a lot of information in there. We might have to get rid of some of that information being reported there.
Cessna 171 Tree Charlie, cleared to San Luis Airport via Morro Bay, Mike, Quebec.
All right, standard pressure on the altimeters.
3,000.
And of course, one of the standby horizons we should have messed with too, but it's already at the 299er mode, so that's good. And climbing. And we are still off course because he did ask us to continue flying this heading of 280. We would come here to GWIN and then be direct, but I don't know when he is going to decide to turn us. But it is what it is, so we are going to continue this heading until giving any further instructions. If he forgets, we will most certainly reach out to him. Alright, let us come down here really quick and just make sure we're at where we want to be. Go to flight plan. This is how we're going to use the direct feature. We simply pick our feature and hit this direct button, so that's super easy. In the meantime, I like to keep this you can check our status page here. This is going to give us information on our present position, our waypoint, and all that good stuff. And the auto throttles, it says it's set at 280, so supposedly we're in the auto throttle mode, even though as soon as we get done climbing, this thing likes to go out of the auto throttle mode, so we'll see what that's all about. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and keep this in the autopilot feature.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, verify you're joining the Padres to departure, or show you off of the Padres to departure now.
Yeah, roger that. Your last instruction, sir, was to continue to fly this heading 280 on departure, unless I misunderstood that, sir.
Yes, to join, the heading to join the departure.
I am so sorry. I repeat it back. I will fly this heading of 280, but I can most certainly join the arrival now. We were just monitoring that. So would you like us to go direct Padres or to the next waypoint after that?
Well, unless you want to go to Hawaii, which is more than welcome to me.
I wish I had the time and money. I would go over there.
I'll do you one better. How about direct Meissen?
Thank you, sir. We'll go direct Meissen, November 350 Kilo Tango. Sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. I did to join. That small little two-letter word.
Hey, I'm glad I paid attention to phonics in the second grade. Appreciate it, and we'll be going direct Meissen, sir. All right, so little confusion and
LA Center,
you know, no big deal. So let's go back over here to our flight plan.
Proceed direct 29 pounds.
And now we're going to go direct towards Meissen, which is a huge actual shortcut. Now we can hit nav button, and we will be going direct Meissen. Otherwise, we were actually monitoring Gwyn, and I was wondering why he didn't have us on there. What I heard was November 350 Kilo Tango.
Not too I apologize. I'm not painting any of that. Otherwise, I would have caught that ahead of time.
I think that's kind of an unsafe way to tell pilots to do that.
To be honest with you,
but I'll pay attention
in that vicinity. So.
Roger, I'm seeing the same on 4 flight, but there is definitely electric activity up there.
Number 13 Whiskey, I appreciate the pilot then. I will know for the future.
My pleasure.
Number 7355 Alpha, clear to San Diego Airport via Santa Catalina, then as filed, maintain 5,000. Departure frequency 127.4. Squawk 5774, hold for release.
Okay, I'm kind of curious why we are doing a 180 here. Okay, let's go back down and say direct Meissen.
The squawk is 5774, 5774. Cessna 55 Alpha, read back correct. Let me know when you're number 1 for departure.
Alright, next waypoint Meissen.
Skycade, Mike Echo traffic.
We're on
10 o'clock, 3 miles north of bound,
change.
4,500 VFR type of no.
Let's figure out what we're doing here. And where's Meissen?
Number 15 Mac Victor, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
Okay, now the aircraft is straightening itself out. Let's get rid of airports. That way we can truly figure out what this thing is doing. And I just believe Meissen is a waypoint way up here. So now it looks like, you know, we're directed, but it cannot show it. But these are other waypoints that we are missing, so I'm assuming Meissen is going to be the next point after Sebi. So now let's go ahead and check that out. There's Meissen.
Number 15 Mike Victor, SoCal approach Palma, altimeter 29er tree.
Okay, Sebi, Yella, and Meissen, so that's right. So
Skyline 13 Charlie, cross Morro Bay at 3,000, clear view Alpha approaches.
Again, this is your Captain Dre Sanchez, motivated sim pilot from the flight deck. Just letting you know, we are still experiencing our onboard entertainment. We have 233 nautical miles until our top of descent, in which actually that'll be about 132 nautical miles before we get back to the cockpit potentially and start planning for our arrival. Until then, enjoy this onboard in-flight entertainment while I fly the Hawker 4000 from Gillespie Field in San Diego on over to Las Vegas. We'll check you out in a minute, and we should be descending in not that long. Super weird turn. So the only thing I can think of the glitch happened is I asked the plane to go direct first for the FMC to have that, so when I push the nav it would start the turn. So essentially next time I hit the nav on this particular aircraft, I'll hit the direct button to that particular location again just to be on the safe side, which shouldn't have to be the actual way you do it, but that's the way that we are going to do it for this one. Alright. And it's going to be super short flight because at Meissen, I believe we're supposed to be at 24,000 or at least above 24,000. So we'll check that out. Aircraft has slowed itself significantly. See if I give it a little more power, if we can get a increase on our...
Scott 8, Mike Echo descent and maintain 3,000.
There we go. We gave it a little more power so we can get that ascent going. Got to be careful though, because once it gets to target altitude, this thing will start taking off like a rocket if you don't watch that speed. So I'm going to monitor that closely. Alright, less than 2,000 to go. And I am going to look at the arrival, the charts list, and the Kepix 6. Alright, getting up there. I'm keeping my eye on you. Yeah, so Meissen is supposed to be right at flight level 240. So, essentially, we're about 50 nautical miles from there, I think, or so. I'll check the distance here in a second. Alright, let's check this out, though. That way I can be aggressive with the throttles. And Meissen, we're still about 106, 105. Oh, this is 200 range, that's why. So we'll be able to cruise here for a second. Now watch that speed start creeping up.
1234 Whiskey,
we're on altitude.
7012 and ident.
It's slowly creeping up.
Scott 8 Mike Echo, descend and maintain 2000.
Alright. So we're watching that speed.
So 7355 Alpha, release for departure, clearance what if not off for 5 minutes. If not off for 5 minutes, advise this frequency no more than 10 minutes of your intentions. Change to advisory frequency.
Let's reel this in. I wanted to change this to Mach, but I don't think it will let us. It says push to change. Well, there's no way to push it. Now this one there is, see, it goes to the hand to push to sync, but if you go to this one, there's nothing. This one there is, but this one there is absolutely nothing.
Whiskey, radar contact 4,000, about 3 miles west.
So that must not be modeled.
Chino, altimeter 2996, ATIS information, Victor. Maintain VFR at 4,500 and fly heading 190.
Alright, we don't know what happened there.
And heading 190, please.
There we go.
Number 15 Mike Victor, the San Diego altimeter 2997, ATIS Juliet, expect localizer 27.
I think that's how you work the auto throttles in this thing, is you click that button once, then it'll do it. Which is pretty cool. I got a little scared there, but now I'm moving my throttle, and it's not reacting, which is cool. So there's a little bit of a scary moment once you engage the auto throttles on this thing, but it does work. So we'll keep it at 280.
Don't do that to me. I'm already going.
And we're traveling right now currently at a ground speed of 464 knots, so that's good. Winds are out of the west at 30 degrees, so we're not getting beat up too bad by the winds. So I think we'll cruise here at this speed to be on the safe side. Auto throttles are kicked in, and then so the way we disconnect them is the same way. I guess we come down here and we'll hit this little button there to disconnect them, which is pretty cool. Alright, so not doing too bad now. Now we can see Meissen right here in sight.
240.
Down to 240 TBM 13 Whiskey.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, cross Meissen at and maintain flight level 240.
Cross Meissen at and maintain flight level 240 for November 350 Kilo Tango. Alright, so now we're looking at Meissen and we have 79 nautical miles to go. So that's only a disparity of 4,000, so we don't need to start descending there yet. Alright. It would be nice though if there was a better VNAV feature, and you can see here too, it's got Meissen at 24,000
Just
feet.
Mike Echo, turn right, heading 260.
So let's check that status. Auto throttles. Before this was darked out, but now this is green, so that's pretty cool. See, Myson, supposed to be there 9 minutes, 43 seconds. Flight plan.
34 Whiskey, fly heading 170.
Like I said, it would be totally awesome if we had some type of vertical navigation on here, which I don't see that. There is no VNav feature here.
LA Center, TBM 13 Whiskey 27.
Let's see if there's a VNav feature up here.
240.
And it says there is.
34 Whiskey, descend and maintain 3,400.
Let's see what that does if we're just playing around.
Number 1 Tree Whiskey, Los Angeles Center, good evening. Skygate Mike Echo, 6 miles from Zilma, maintain 2,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 29 right approach.
And that's pretty cool because it does work. It got us on that path, and we're now descending VNav path to this selected location of 24,000 feet. Let's check the rest of the flight plan and see if it'll actually do that.
55 Alpha, SoCal approach, squawk ident.
And CLAR's at 13,000 as well. Interesting.
Number 350 Kilo Tango, contact Los Angeles Center 134.65.
Los Angeles Center 134.65 for 135 Kilo Tango. All right, 3465.
5 Alpha, radar contact.
134.650. Los Angeles Center, number 350 Kilo Tango is at flight level 2.3, descending down to cross Myson at maintain flight level 240.
So 350 Kilo Tango, Los Angeles Center, cross CLAR and maintain 13000 at 250 knots. Vegas altimeter 29089er.
29089er, Vegas altimeter, cross CLAR at 250 knots at 13000 over 350 Kilo Tango.
34 Whiskey, turn right, heading 230,
so,
intercept the localizer.
We'll just keep our VNav path
American Tree 17, descend and maintain flight over 250.
So we'll just keep the old VNav and we'll see if we get Myson where we want to be. We got about 4,000 more feet to go there.
5 Mike Victor, traffic 10 o'clock, 3 miles northwestbound along the shoreline, 4,500, VF flight type is unknown.
All right, cruising right along.
Number 1 Tree Whiskey, descend and maintain 12000.
Now what we can do,
Vegas altimeter 29089er.
and I'm sorry, I had some great entertainment for you guys set up in the back. I don't know that we're going to get to look at it. Maybe we'll start it. I'll show you what you guys were going to see.
American Tree 17, contact Albuquerque Center 128.45. Have a good day.
But we'll see if we even do that. All right, so we need to look at the Las Vegas chart, if you will, for the CapEx 6.
7355 Alpha, SoCal approach, Kennedy altimeter 29901.
So essentially, we're hitting Myson here, so we're not necessarily on this chart. Once we get to CLAR at 250, this is the instructions they gave us, and we will be at 13,000 at 250 knots. And then another thing that we need to pay attention to is the actual ATIS frequency of 132.4.
Services provided. Contact Chino Tower.
So 132.4. Let's get that in our standby over here. 134. Oh, I'm sorry. 132. 132.4 in the house. 0, 0, bam, and then we're gonna just switch that over. Now we have 132.4.
Victor, traffic no factor. At the time you said pass behind you.
Now the one thing about this aircraft is that you cannot necessarily have both radios on at the same time.
Number 13 Charlie, contact San Luis Tower 124.0. Number 15 Mike Victor, turn left heading 090. Contact SoCal approach 124.35.
We'll see if we can sneak on over really quick and get the, like I said, we can't do both at the same time, which is unrealistic. Alright, so we're still too far to get that. Alright. Interesting. So once we get to Maizen, the aircraft should continue its descent. Calculating for
378 Lima, SoCal departure radar contact, climb and maintain
13,250. We'll have to change the speed though, since VNAV is not going to also contain information about the speed. It's just more or less altitude on this thing. So if you look here, here's our other altitudes.
Turn right, heading 10.
So we monitor the speed. The aircraft will still do a VNAV descent, especially if it is
378 Lima traffic, 10 o'clock and 2.5 miles
set up into the flight plan as a star or SID. It looks like the aircraft will monitor that as well as keeping the speed.
Number 378 Lima, also verify that you're continuing to climb.
Alright, so far so good. Now let's go ahead and look at that approach.
I show you descending through 800
for
feet.
26 left, which I'm assuming that's where we're going to land, especially on this arrival. So the actual localizer is 111.5.
Okay, everything okay?
So we'll do 111.50. Actually, it's just going to be 111.
With 378, let me continue.
And we'll do it again for.
Okay, number 378, cleared direct popper. Climb and maintain.
There we go. 11.5, 11.5, both sides. We are looking good. So we will cruise right along here, making it happen, of course.
Set 58 Papa Hotel.
So far, interesting flight. No time for dilly-dallying, of course. I thought we were going to have time for in-flight entertainment, but I'm wrong. And looks like we're doing good as far as fuel. We're still going to get there with quite a bit of fuel, it looks like, so far.
So traffic should be no factor.
That's good.
Off the wing. Turn right heading 120.
Look at our V speeds, of course. Alright folks, your captain again from the flight deck, Dre Sanchez, the motivated sim pilot, just letting you know that we do have about 118 nautical miles until we are at the top of our descent, which we will go ahead and initiate that then. So here in just a few more miles, we will go ahead and jump back up into the flight deck and start preparing this flight for arrival into Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Again, thanks for flying along with us and enjoy just a little bit more of the onboard entertainment. So it'll be interesting to see
number
if
13 Whiskey
slow
traffic about 1 o'clock, 7 miles opposite direction, 16,500 VFR type on.
Yeah, we're looking for that traffic TV and 13 Whiskey.
Number 15 Mike Victor, descend and maintain 3,800.
Alright, a little bit of 1,000 to go, over 6.8 nautical miles. So we will figure that out.
Papa Hotel, SoCal approach, what do we got here? Burbank altimeter, 29091.
Alright, so
Set 58 Papa Hotel, SoCal approach, Burbank altimeter,
so you got about another nautical mile, so we're at 24,000, so let's see if it makes that change. Alright, and so Clara does have us going further down. Alright. And let us most certainly deploy some speed brakes. Alright. Let's take this air, and you see what happened? So, let's get rid of that VNAV. And we are grossly descending. So that's the ugly one. So the aircraft is pitching up. Don't know what that was all about, but a good thing we didn't get the aircraft getting destroyed. So that VNAV feature, I will not use that again. That was very nasty. And let's see, how do I get rid of this thing? Alright, so she's picking back up, and that was definitely nasty business there. Let's see, not quite sure how to get rid of this little window here. Alright, we'll just get it out of there because I do not know how to get rid of it. All is well though. Let's
15 Mike Whiskey, 10 right heading 19.
Alright folks, the onboard entertainment is coming definitely to a halt. We are 88 nautical miles from the top of the descent, so let's go ahead and jump back up into the flight deck. And here we are back in the flight deck, and again, I hope you enjoyed that onboard entertainment. But now it's time to jump back in the old office here and make it happen, of course. So let's do just that and see exactly how this goes. We hope it goes well, of course, and we're gonna make it happen. Flight Simulator 4723, thanks for joining us, thanks for being here. Chiefs and Pilot, thanks for being here. Wifey, children, everybody else on the stream, thanks for being here. I'm excited to see how this goes. Let's go ahead and increase our range here, and we should be able to get to just barely see our top of descent, which is right up here because I have this extended to 80 nautical miles. So of course what we need to do, my fellow folks, we need to go ahead and make sure that weather stayed just as it was. So let's go ahead and look for that airport, and then I'll show the weather to you guys. Let's see. Alright, let me pull it up. Okie dokie. Hope everybody has been enjoying the route so far. And let's pull this in here. We'll check a few different things out. Let's hit that weather. Alright. So here is the current weather. Winds are still out of the north. Modified VFR, so that's good. We're still doing an eastern landing, so it'll still be a bit of a crosswind landing. So essentially we'll be traveling east and the winds will be coming from the north. So we'll see how that affects the aircraft. It's just a bit of a cross wind landing, but nothing major. And the QNH is 1009. Let me write that on my trusty scratch pad here. Alright, get all this stuff here situated. Alright, 1009 on the QNH. Outside temperature is 24 degrees Celsius, and the winds are at 360 at 5 knots, so not bad at all. And everything else is looking good there, folks, so we could probably do a full flaps landing just to be on the safe side, which I like to do, so we can get this bad boy as slow as possible. And then of course let's go ahead and check the our current location. So if we extend this, we can see here we are, Cathay 318. We're finally over land, and here is the Ho Chi Minh Airport, and it looks like we are the only arrival, and there's no air traffic control on board. So we'll just do our due diligence and go from there. I'll leave the scope pulled up, of course, so I can take a look and observe that. So for our descent, everything is still in order, and we're simply just going to let the aircraft pretty much do what it needs to do in order to get us where we need to go until it's time for us to land. There's really not a whole lot that we have to do. You can see right now what those winds are doing here. The winds are basically out of the southeast at 27 knots. Therefore, that's why it's blowing on our left side of the aircraft, because we are headed south. This is east, west, and then towards the tail in that direction is north. And of course, you can see that we're traveling on a southwestern heading, slightly western, but more south. 180 is south, so you can see we're going to be making more of a pronounced turn over to almost a 240 degree heading. So, all right, doing well, folks, doing well. Looks like we've got a little bit of cloud coverage. There we go. One thing that I may have forgot to do is put in, let's see if we can get the most accurate weather. Let's see. And cruising altitude is 38,000 feet. Might see some changes because I'm updating to make sure the weather engine of Active Sky for X-Plane actually updates the weather appropriately, and you can see it doing its job now, and there you go. So it was pretty close. Added a few more clouds in. Wind is still pretty much same direction at 27 knots, of course, as you can see here on our multifunction display here next to the PFD. Alright, you can see that is the indicator for top of descent, and there's really, again, not a whole lot that we have to do, simply because everything is already programmed in. We forecasted the runway, and to our luck, we have been able to pretty much keep that. So I'm happy about that. So if you come here and look at the flight plan and we just kind of cycle through it, you will see all of the different altitudes that the aircraft is going to try and adhere to for our descent. And then, as you can see, getting into our last waypoints, we slow down here to 159, which looks like it's going to calculate the approach speed, so we'll have to figure that out. We'll get into that during our descent. So not much further to go. All right. Everything else is looking good. We have the music on, so you probably won't be hearing this information. Let's go ahead and give them a before descent notification here. All right. Doing good, doing good. Again, everybody, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for watching. We should be on the ground here. And not that much longer from now, we're going to start our descent. And usually from the time we start our descent to the time we're on the ground, it's about 15 to 20 minutes. So we're just going to monitor the aircraft and make sure it is descending appropriately. Let's look at the bottom altitude. And I believe it's 2,000. So we can essentially, and we'll take a look at the descent metrics or descent profile, as we should. Get the airport in there. We can take a look at that. So our arrival is the, let's see, stars. We click stars here. And let me check the flight plan here. Otherwise, give me a bunch of mumbo jumbo. So we are arriving on the Bayomi 1. So Bayomi 1, where are you? RNAV, arrivals, runways 7 left. Okay, so man, they really do this strange. Let me pull it in. They don't do it strange. Let me rephrase. They just do it differently. So if you can take a look at this, I was looking for the Bayomi over here, but it doesn't list it. So essentially then when you got to come is here. Now on all of the charts in the United States per se, the charts actually have the individual stars or SIDs, depending on which one you're in. We're in the star now, the standard terminal arrival, listed. But on this one, it aggregates it and compiles it into one that covers many. So this arrivals runway 7 left, 7 right covers all of these. So essentially we're doing the Bayomi 1 Alpha. So here's the information from Bayomi 1 Alpha. On track 26, descend to 3000 at TSN VOR. Can use VOR runway 7 left or 7 right approach. So essentially at Bayomi, we need to be at 3000. So from Bayomi on track 26, descend to 3000. So once we get to Bayomi, that's when it's telling us to descend to 3000. But we already have our route programmed in. So let's make sure Bayomi is at 3000 or above in our planning situation here. So Bayomi, they've actually got it at flight level 210. And that looks kind of sketchy, but the aircraft has calculated it, so we're going to go with it. If we need to do some more procedure terms on our own, then we'll do that. So I guess from Bayomi it's saying you can start descending to that altitude because it's still, we've got a few turns to come in on the radials. And then TS028 is at 14,620. So let's check the approach for ILS X-Ray Zulu. See, TS516, we need to make sure that is at 2,000. Let's see, TS516, yeah, let's make sure that's at 2,000. Otherwise, we need to do a little bit more. Okay, TS516, and it does. It has it at 2,000. So this is looking like the aircraft will be able to handle it. So we'll monitor this whole descent. All right. Let's come over here now and look where we're at, so we don't miss our descent mark. All right, which we looks like we did. So let's go ahead and start that descent. Well, actually, what we have to do is bring this down to 2,000. And now we are most certainly starting our descent into the area. I can only imagine that we will most certainly be needing to put some speed brakes on, because it looks like we're going to be ascending quite significantly here. So let's see how we do on speed. If we accelerate too much, which it looks like we are, we got a little bit of speed brakes on half. And we're going to turn them off at this point because the aircraft is actually saying that it wants to descend to this mark at the most. So we'll see how that works out. If we exceed that mark, then we'll get the speed brakes back on so that we can most certainly continue our descent. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for joining the stream. We are on descent finally from Hong Kong into the Ho Chi Minh City area, flying this Airbus A350-900 extra wide body. For everybody here on this wonderful Wednesday, hope everybody is doing well, and we'll see how it works out once we get a little closer. All right. And again, just to take a look at, I like the speed is doing okay for right now. So let's go lower on this. Let's get it to about 20 nautical miles. Let's see. Let's go this way. There we go. And let's go into the plan feature. And you can see that's where the aircraft is currently at. We got a nice little turn going on here. Let's come down here and step through it. All right. So we're going to make our turn, head straight, and then you can see that right turn that we're doing. So we essentially are going to continue to descend it down to 5,000. So we'll see where that end of descent is at. And it's at 2,000. So that's where it's saying that we will be. Well, these are markers. So we'll see how that works out. Again, we'll monitor our descent. Back onto this feature, and let's increase the mileage back to 80 so we can truly see what's going on. All right. And let's look at transition altitude is... Oh, transition altitude here is 18,000 feet. So we're back to our standard transition altitude. And let's make sure that's programmed in here. So if we go to this and go to perf and thread, transition altitude is 18,000 feet. So now we have our transition altitude programmed in, and so far this was for our takeoff. It's still showing our V speeds, but once we go on to approach, we can also just take a sneak peek, and we can start putting the QNH in there, which we said was 1009. The outside temperature was 24 degrees Celsius. And we'll look at our radio altimeters there and the magnetic wind heading and knots. Let's go ahead and put that in as well. Let me just do a refresh one last time. Okay, still at 360, so 360 and 5. So we're going to go 360. And we're going to go 5 knots right in there. And boom, so we got the heading and it's got the crosswinds in there. So now it's appropriated. At flaps full, our V approach is 143. And it did switch our transition altitude to this. I don't know why. Again, we said it's at 18,000 feet because I am looking at the chart. There we go. Oh, because we were in the approach now. There we go. So on approach, we got flight level 180. All right, let's take a look at how the aircraft is doing. And we're not overspeeding since we are paying attention to that stuff and not what's going on the aircraft. There we go. And still looking good. I like our descent profile. The aircraft is doing a marvelous job of staying on our descent profile here. So there we go. Let me check on the comments. Here we go. Again, everybody, thank you for staying along with our stream. We are going to make it happen. We're going to touch down and call it a day after a replay here in Vietnam. All right. And you know what? I love Vietnam. I actually love the food there. I've never been to Vietnam, but I do love the food. That is for sure. So if my wife and I ever had a chance to go, we would for sure eat Vietnam all the way up. One of our favorite dishes, which I actually make from scratch, is pho. Beef pho. And I personally like it with the tendons and the tripe and the bean sprouts and the basil, the whole nine. We also like the vermicelli bowl. So anyway, big shout out to Vietnam. Y'all guys have excellent food. Hopefully one day on the bucket list we'll travel to Vietnam. We don't know what the current situation. All we can do is travel there virtually for now. So we're gonna make it happen for sure. All right, making another little turn here. Our descent continues, and once we get to flight level 180, we will be putting QNH at 1009 on. Actually, it's 1010 now, and the temperature is still 24. The wind heading is everything. So let me switch that QNH up into our situation here. We said it was, but it changed. I just updated, so that's the current QNH is 1010 degrees heading, and outside air temperature did remain the same. We're still at 143 knots on the landing, which I am absolutely cool with. See if we can come out here and check out some of this scenery. All right. There we go. There we go. Beautiful scenery out there. Looks like a nice day to fly. Very, very partly cloudy and partly cloudy only. All right, let's go ahead and fix up this so it doesn't look so jumbled. All right. And we're just going to continue it on, monitor the aircraft. Let's go ahead and hone in on this descent checklist. I'm trying to wait till we get past this flight level so that we can go ahead and put it to standard, or put it to the, so it's going to be 1010. All right. So now let's go ahead and bring this back to 1010 on that QNH. And of course, we need to come over to the first officer side, or your side, do the same thing. And then of course, we need to come to the standby here and put it in 1010 as well. I don't know what I was thinking. There we go. This thing here is so touchy the way you have to do it. It'd be a miracle if we get it on it. They should have done this one a little bit better. Boom! 1010! I ain't playing around. Alright. Back up we go, and now we can come back here for sure and finish this piece out. So we got 1010. Let's actually, when I said that, I meant to get to the checklist. Alright, descent preparation, weather obtained, landing, barrels preset, ECAM, all this was good to go, and we didn't set the auto brake yet, so let's do that. Anti-icing looks good. Let's get in here to the wheel page, and we'll probably just set it for 2. There we go, auto brake is set for 2. So we can check that off, and anti-ice as required. Come over here and click this next. And then now we're going to do descent. And at 10,000 feet, descent, So at 10,000 feet, we need our landing lights on. So far, so good. We're pretty much on our downwind leg. So we'll make an announcement. All right. Just double check. Actually, before we do our announcement, let's get our radio altimeter in there. So let me check the approach. 407 right. Again, thanks for riding along. We're going to get this bird on the ground and then take it from there. We're supposed to be pulling into, I believe, Terminal 1. Again, Cathay Pacific does this actual real flight. The actual real flight is done in an A350-900 extra wide body. So we are just doing it for ourselves now, changing the flight number to 318 and doing our thing. Okay. All right. Let's see. Decision height here is 231 feet. Of course, we can always set the radio altimeters for 200, and that'll pretty much always give us that 200 call out. The elevation there is 24, so 231 makes sense for it to be the height, but we'll do the radio altimeter of 200, which means at roughly 224 feet, that's when the radio altimeter should ask us whether we're landing or not. So let's go ahead and put our radio altimeter of 200 feet above, and actually let's see, yeah, we'll do 200 feet above. Alright, so we got our radio altimeter set in. We got our flaps to configuration for full. Our V approach speed is 143. Outside temperature is 24 Celsius. QNH 1010. The wind is out of the north at 5 knots. So there is a crosswind of 5 knots, as you can see, and a headwind of 2 knots because it is a crosswind. So it breaks it down here, which is pretty nice. So that's not too bad at all, folks. I'm liking that. Once we get to 10,000, we'll put our landing lights on. We're at 10,900 now. All right, continuing to work our way down, of course. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take over our descent now. All right. And we'll go ahead and keep her going down slightly. As you can see, I'm glad I'm taking care of this because we need to be at TS5. We need to be at 2000. See, that's TS022. Let's check and see where we need to be at. We're getting ready to cross 10,000, so let's go ahead and get those landing lights on so we can get the nose all the way on. So when it comes off, I'm turning everything on. And get that landing light on. Boom. Looks like we may have rolled the whole way with the landing light on. I thought I'd turned it off, but I didn't. Oh well, it's on now. Let's go up, double check that. On. Okay, we'll put the logo to auto to be on the safe side. There we go. That is done. Now let's come down here and let's go back to our flight plan. 02521. So TS56. So even at Quebec, we should be at 2000. So let's look and see what that looks like. Where's Quebec at? Okay, Quebec at 2000. So actually, we can probably go back on our descent. So this got us at let's see, 6,000. Quebec is actually the first waypoint at 2000, so let's go ahead and make concessions for that. So this is where our aircraft is going to descend to and be there at 2000. Quebec is up here, so let's make that alteration. Alright, and there we got it right there, so we'll continue to descend there. And of course, we'll also take over our speed. Here in a second, we're still doing 280, but we are below 10,000 feet. So now you can see the aircraft is trying to bleed speed smartly. Let's go ahead and give it a helping hand. You can see it needs a little bit of help. All right. See those speed brakes coming out slightly. Let's go to about half. Alright, let's go ahead and go back up front and see what that's doing. Alright, gonna slow her down to about 220. Alright, folks. Still got those speed brakes out right now, about half. And we are bleeding speed to 220, which is good. Alright, folks. Ho Chi Minh City traffic. Cathay Pacific 318 is descending via the Bayomi 1 Alpha, currently direct to Tango Sierra 025, and we will be expecting runway 07 right, full stop for Ho Chi Minh traffic. All right, there we go. So now that's been done. All right, I just hit something that I didn't want to hit. That was the I actually hit a button on my keyboard and that wasn't good, so we don't need that. We just need to make sure the speed brakes are retracted. Alright, we want to arm it. Now it's armed. Alright, close call. Alright, now we want to go ahead and start getting ready to bring the aircraft in. Let's come down here and observe our checklist. Exterior lights are set. Flight data is received. Barrel is referenced. We're good there. And of course, this is going to be for a descent. Rate of descent is required. Speed brakes is required. Weather on EFIS. Holding pattern is required. And now we can actually come back. And now we'll be looking for the precision approach. And the initial approach, here it is. We need to phase, monitored, everything, which it'll do it by itself. You can see we're kind of turning a bit into a cloud. All right, folks. Make our turn here. We'll go down to 210 on the speed. All right. Gonna get 210 on the speed there. We made our call outs. There's nobody there. Let's get a before landing message.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a few minutes our aircraft will land at the destination airport. For your safety, we ask you to remain seated.
Alright, in some clouds, of course. That's always seems to be our case. Thanks everybody for joining. We are on our initial approach. We're getting ready to turn the final approach here. We're going to make this right turn. And we can also get our landing system on, and we can arm that localizer. Once we make the turn, we're not going to do it just yet, for the simple reason that sometimes when you arm it too early, the aircraft will do a full turnaround. Then of course you can see at Quebec, this is where we're supposed to be at 2000. So we might even be able to stop our descent a little bit more and go down to 7, as you can see. Now the airplane doesn't have to do as much. Alright, I feel comfortable enough to hit the localizer. So the localizer is armed. Now once our aircraft recognizes or reaches the localizer signal, this will become active. Then we can put it into the approach phase. You can see here we have the localizer. Well, this is the VOR right now that is tracking the ITS. All right, here we go, folks. We're making it happen. We're making it happen. We're gonna set her down nicely, of course. All right, we're doing the ILS X-ray runway 07 right, and 111.7 is the actual ILS, and it is the ITS. And just so you guys know how that works, if you notice here, this aircraft's nice because you don't have to manually put it in. We see the ITS, that's a localizer frequency, which is essentially a VOR frequency, but it's for localization for the aircraft, which the autopilot reads it laterally and vertically for the VNAV or the glide slope. Heading is 070, and that is the frequency. Again, touchdown elevation is noted right here at 24 feet, and we should get the glide slope becoming active at Tango Sierra 514. So we're not doing too bad at all. Continue our approach, and let's start slowing the aircraft down. 514 here is where we'll get it. The localizer has been activated, so now we can go ahead and click this approach button and start slowing her down to 190, of course, and we'll get first stage of flaps 1. All right, let it bleed a little bit, and we'll do speed check flaps 1, and we'll do that right now. Speed check flaps 1. As we get here, we'll be making sure we go to flaps 2, of course. All right, we are truly on approach. Once this magenta glide slope indicator comes down and catches right here, that's when the aircraft will be on that 3-degree glide slope. And you can see here now where we're at. Ho Chi Minh City traffic, Cathay Pacific 318 is 2.5 nautical miles from Tango Sierra 021 on final for runway 07 right, full stop for Ho Chi Minh City traffic. Alright, so we made our announcements. Again, I don't think anybody's there, but you never know with VATSIM. They always end up coming out when they come out. So we're just going to assume that we're going to do the right thing the whole way through. And again, guys, let's go ahead and look at that approach speed. And of course, let's go here, of course, and activate. Let's make sure the approach is activated. So if you go to descent and then you just say activate the approach, that's fine. Approach is now fully activated, and our V approach is 143. All right, next, and flaps 1, we've already done that. There we go. We're getting a terrain call out. That's okay. All right, speed check flaps 2. We're going to step that speed back now to 170. All right, let's get this where we can really see what's going on here. All right, we're almost at that 2,000 mark, and we'll just leave it right there on the missed approach. We're going to climb straight, runway heading to 3,000, and then RNAV to Toonby. So that's that.
2,000.
All right. All right, folks. Doing great. We're on final. It's very hazy out there, so I can understand now why it was modified VFR. Here in a second, we'll kill that music. You guys ready to touch down? Who's ready to touch down? Welcome back, Chief Sim Pilot. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready to touch down here shortly. Thanks for riding along here on this 2 hour and 10-minute flight in the air. As you can see here, we're at 2 hours and 9 minutes, so we're going to be getting in just slightly over the 2 hour 10 mark flying time, but we did pretty much adhere to the flying time of 2 hours and 10 minutes. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and kill the music. All right, going to a stereo cockpit, and let's go ahead and we're going to go gear down. Seatbelts arm, non-smoking, auto brake is arm, and we do have auto brake set to 2. And here shortly, this is going to start moving so that we'll be on our actual glide path. And you can see it started moving already. Okay, we do have 3 green. Landing lights are all good to go. Approach mode has been activated. So now we can just bring that speed back to 143. And it's time to go. Full flaps. Flaps are set to full, folks. Landing speed is an MCP at 143, and we are catching the glide slope right now, so we are fully orientated, configured, and ready to go for landing. Let me put the climb altitude for missed approach, and you can see there we have the runway. All right, folks, let's do it. Autopilot is off. Let's extinguish that noise. Gears down. And nothing to do it but to land. All right, folks. Just going to follow her on in.
Speed, 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 speed.
Well, we do have the approach speed set in the MCP, so that's funny. We're getting a speed, speed, speed. We have nothing to do with that. We're just hand flying it, but I'm letting the auto throttles manage the speed, of course. So even itself didn't follow the rules for itself. Isn't that funny? All right. We got this. Let's get it. Yes, sir, Chief Sim Pilot. Let's get it. Man, you had a great landing yesterday, brother. I tell you what. I think you were doing an Airbus, and you greased it. So, well done. Well done, brother. Let's see what we get here. All right, nice and steady approach. Nice and foggy approach. So glad we decided to do the ILS, and glad everything worked out, of course. All right. All right, folks. Trying to keep her right where we need to be.
400.
All right, landing, as you can see.
100 above.
All right, 100 above. And we will most certainly be landing.
100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 30, 20, retard, 10.
All right, retarding.
10.
All right, acceptable landing. That's okay. I was trying to work on that flare, but we'll take it. All right, reversers are out. No greaser there, but I added that extra fuel, so she was a little bit heavier. All right, 80 knots and reverse free. We'll continue our rollout here. It looks like the folks are happy. Thank you for that luck, Chief Sim Pilot. We didn't grease it, but we made her. We are proud about that. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn off on the next one and just ease on over to the actual gate. All right, that's a sharp turn. We'll come to the next soft one up here and bleed some more speed. All right, braking on. All right, folks, let's go ahead and start getting those flaps up. All right, let's go ahead and make a nice soft turn here. We are on, looks like Echo 4. Let's get fully clear of the runway. All right, we'll set that parking brake here for a second. Let's come to a complete stop. All right, let's just go down and actually set it. This thing always acts funny. All right, parking brake is set. Let's make sure our actual brake is off, and let's get our landing lights off and our strobe off. So that's off. We could keep, we'll turn the runway turnout lights off, of course, and bring this to taxi and get our landing off, and let's get that APU started, of course. So that's going. Ho Chi Minh City traffic, Cathay 318 is clear of runway 07 right on Echo 4. We'll be taxiing to the terminal now. And the terminal's right there, and thanks for that, honey. Thanks for that, Chief Sim Pilot. I appreciate everybody staying on board for the landing. And now let's just go bring it in and look at that replay. Welcome into Vietnam. And how quickly we have left the shores of China. Alright, looks like we do have the APU on, which is good. Gonna taxi right on into the gate. Alright, pretty small terminal area here. We're going to go down to this in gate where we belong. Not a bad flight. Pretty seamless. So not a whole lot going on here. Just taxiing in, and then we're going to check out the replay. Let's see here. Alright, fairly small terminal. Just looking at my airport map. Or chart, I should say. Let's see, looks like we got to go around a little bit. Alright, we got to do this wide turn here so we can line up for this entryway into this gate. Slow our approach speed there slightly. Alright. Alright, looks like we're pretty much lined up. You know what we got to do? We got to jump out. I was on the line, which is good. Now we just got to ease it up. Ever so slightly. There we go. Perfect. All right, again, thanks for everybody saying good job and for the support. We don't have anybody out guiding us in, so we're going to guide ourselves in. All right, let's go ahead and jump on board and get that parking brake up. Parking brake is set. Let's go ahead and get that landing light off, or the taxi light off, of course. All right, so that's off, and we can also get the red beacon off. And of course, we can come up here now and activate the APU generator, and we'll take off these other generators, of course. So now we can get the other generator power off. Before we actually turn the aircraft off, we need to get the packs off and the engine bleeds off. We'll turn the APU bleed on and open up the isolation valve since we do have the APU on. All right, there we go, folks. So now we can definitely come here for engine shut off. And of course, let's also come back over here and get the actual transponder off, of course, controls, and we'll put that to standby and standby. So now that is off. And then of course, now we can watch the replay, folks. I need to go over here and disconnect from the VATSIM network. I always forget to do it, but I did it correctly this time. And now we can check our replay out, folks. So without further ado, let's get into that replay and see how we did. Just give me a few seconds here to get the replay set up, and we'll check it out. All right, we'll go ahead and start the replay from here and see what we look like now that we can enjoy it. Very, very foggy and misty approach into the Ho Chi Minh City Airport. Was hoping for a great landing, but an acceptable landing is just that. I added some extra fuel on there and probably could have worked better on the flare on the way in, but I'm still satisfied with our arrival. Could have probably held the nose up a little bit longer. For whatever reason on this aircraft too, the front landing gear always looks like it's a little bit above the ground. It fixed itself. That's just a glitch with the plane. But as you can see, we're almost center line. Got our reversers out. Everything looked really good on that aircraft. All right, let's for sure run that back. And I know my wife loves a certain replay, so got to give it to her. Go a little closer there and get behind the aircraft and check that out. This one's for you, honey, as always. Thank you for the support. Again, thank you for everybody joining. You can see we were crabbing slightly in there. So not bad, like I said, almost center line. No worries there. Let's pause that and get the wing view. All right, let's jump up in here and check that wing view out, of course. Let's get a good little view, which would be right there, and see how we did from this aspect. Again, you guys know I always appreciate you riding on board. Get this touchdown here and see how that looks from the wing view. Passengers didn't have to lose their lunch today or do any screaming. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right. Don't know what that notable beep was. That something in the replay, but according to the aircraft, it needed to make the noise. So here we are. We arrived. I appreciate you guys. Again, thanks for riding along. You know how we do it. We're just gonna ride out to us taxiing into the airport from our wing views. Again, thank you for joining the stream. Thanks for the support. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next flight. We'll see what happens. We'll see maybe if we get into maybe a little shorter hops. Maybe we might do 1 or 2. We'll see. And go from there. Until then, if I don't see you before New Year's Eve or New Year's itself, Happy New Year's Eve and Happy New Year's to everybody. We're going to have a banging and great 2021 no matter what's thrown at us. So keep your head up and stay positive. And like I always tell my family, put some grease on it and keep it moving. So take care. Thanks for joining me. And we'll see you on the next stream. Let's ride it out and just bounce our heads. All right. Thanks, Chief Sim Pilot. Thanks for saying that. See you next time, brother. I'll be tuning into your next stream. Flight Simulator 4723. Thanks for joining. Honey, thanks for joining. Everybody, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you. Don't want to do it without you. All right.